Welcome everybody to another very, very special edition of your favorite Counter-Apologetics show. I am talking about that hot program. Thank you guys so much for joining us. As you see, the dream team is back in the building. I, of course, am your host with the most from the East Coast, and I am joined by a man who recently almost died and probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for the hard work of doctors, scientists, and engineers. A man who almost needed a eulogy, but needs no introduction. How are you doing today? We're glad you survived. We're very, very thankful for those doctors and scientists.
As am I.
Tell us what happened.
I'm feeling great. So, and I can tie this into the show. Isn't that wonderful?
Great.
First of all, hello, everyone. Thank you, Pocket Locker.
Of course.
It's very good to be back. So,
also, thanks to Tux for holding it down, right? And keeping.
And thank you, Tux.
Yeah,
I appreciate you guesting while I was away. So, I was going to visit my fiance at an undisclosed location. And undisclosed. I was bringing a bunch of medical supplies and hygiene things for her family because we were going to drop them off. And I'm hauling 150 pounds of things with me. And some of you may recall that I'm already a heart patient. I have cardiomyopathy, so my heart doesn't beat vigorously because there's a scar. So there's basically an area of my heart that doesn't do anything. That's not fodder for a sermon. But,
right.
I realize somebody might think I set myself up for that one. But the doctors all think it's like because of some virus that I may have had when I was younger.
Really?
Severe. Yeah. And like I couldn't pinpoint it. But as I learned about the different symptoms that people with my heart condition have, I had them not all at this. I had them at different phases in my life. So she's the lead doctor who did my surgery and gave me a defibrillator. She thinks that this is probably something that's been there a long time, Wow. And I don't think it's recent myself. But anyway, I'm getting winded and frustrated. I'm trying to make the bus depot to go to the airport. And I'm dragging all these things, and I finally say, because my suitcases kept falling over, and I said, you know what? I'm not dying for this today. My heart was racing. I could feel it.
Wow.
So I stopped. And when I stopped, two of the bags started to fall over. I reached down to grab the handle and missed. And the bag that weighed 70 pounds, the handle swung and hit me right in my defibrillator. And I said, oh, shit. And before I could finish my sentence, the defibrillator shocked me.
Wow.
Now, it shocked me a total of 7 times.
Oh, my goodness.
So the first time, I know exactly what's going on. I don't know the reason why. I hit the ground. I'm on my knees, and I start breathing deeply, right? Because why? To keep my blood oxygenated, keep myself going. And now the reason the device shocks me is because it's saying, okay, your heartbeat is irregular, you're going too fast, I'm going to pace you to a good, healthy rhythm. So it had to interrupt what was going on. It successfully did this. And as I'm there on the ground going, oh, it's going to happen again, I could feel this thing starting up, and boom, the second one went off. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. I hope it doesn't go off again. And I finally sit on my butt. And
is it painful
and I'm trying
when it goes off? Huh? Is it painful?
Okay, everybody's going to be different. So my answer is no. What it's like is someone who's very strong punching you in the chest. And what it felt like was an implosion of energy. but it was exactly that, into my heart, right? So you feel it. I felt it here, but not down here, sort of speak. Let me move myself. So like this, I felt it here, and it went into my heart. I could feel that surge. And there's like this flash of white light. No, I did not see Jesus.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't see.
Well, that was the next logical question.
Paul. I didn't see my dad. I didn't see my favorite person that's ever lived. Well, my fiance, my second favorite person that's ever lived on this earth, my Aunt Louise.
Yeah, I was about to say, what you really wanted was a vision of your fiance. You wanted that last minute sort of. That's what you would have requested, right?
No, dude, I already spent the money. I bought the tickets, Airbnb booked. I want to go and hang out with her and have a wonderful time. Sure. That's what I'm after. But this was interrupted by my health issue.
He had a heart issue dealing with a heavy object, James. I'm not sure he froze. But guys, do me a favor. Please head over to the Hot Program channel. It is actually posted in there should be a link in the description. But here's what I'm gonna do to make this easier on everybody. There's also a call-in link in the description, guys, to call in. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch over to the Hot Program account. I'm going to grab the Hot Program video link, and then I'm going to drop that for you guys on YouTube so that you can come straight to this video. No big deal, right? On YouTube so that you can. All right, so let's do that. Now, here's the deal. If you're on YouTube, I'm pinning the link to the Hot Program video. Please come watch Hot Program on Hot Program. Yes, it's on Pocket Locker. We want as many people to see it as possible, but we're trying to grow the Hot Program channel so that we don't have to do that in the future. So please come and like and subscribe on Hot Program. Now, what I will do then is if you're on Hot Program, the correct Hot Program channel, that is where I will pin the link to call in. So if you come to Hot Program instead of Pocket Locker, thank you. Also, a couple people just subscribed to Hot Program, so appreciate you guys. And I will pin the message to call the show, right? All right, so there's the deal. If you're on Pocket Locker, we want you to come over to Hot Program. The pinned message will take you to Hot Program. If you're on Hot Program, we want you to call the show. The pinned comment is a link to call into the show. And, of course, there is a link to call into the show in the description. Guys, send out some stuff on social media. Hit up your friends. Hit up your other YouTubers. We're gonna be here till probably right about 6 o'clock is when I can stay here till. And this is our open panel discussion. People are always like, you guys should do panels. You should let people call in and talk about whatever they want. So this is your chance. Don't be shy. Of course, my one black friend is back, and we want to get back to this very, very fascinating story about how you almost died. So sorry about the technical difficulties, but go ahead. Yeah, this time, okay. Seriously.
This might, I didn't count, but I've almost died multiple times. So I had what's called ventricular tachycardia. Essentially, wow. My heart was producing a rhythm where it was signaling, hey, I'm about to stop beating. So I'm in the parking lot and of this bus depot where you get on the bus to go to the airport. I'm pulling all these bags. I'm rewinding for Randy. I'm pulling all these bags or James Afferson. My heart is racing. And I said out loud, you know what? I'm not dying for this today. So I decided I don't care if I'm late. I don't care if I missed my plane and have to buy a new ticket. I'm not going to risk my health to pull 120 pounds of stuff that isn't even mine. You know, I'm not going to keep it. It's for other people. Better I be alive for other people and myself. So I stopped. And that's when the bag fell over, hit me and my device, which had nothing to do with the device going off. My defibrillator.
Now tell me something again about these bags. Where were you carrying these bags to?
undisclosed location. But
you're in
one
the
bag was
airport, right? That's what I'm
no,
trying
I
to
was
get
at
at.
I was going to the bus depot, which takes you to the airport. So I was going to leave my car parked for a few weeks where it's cheap,
Okay, okay.
as opposed to paying for airport parking, which is
Got
$20 a
you.
day.
Got you.
I'm
Okay. So
paying,
now, but
a
you're
fraction.
bringing stuff with you for the people you're going to see and all this stuff, and you're
Exactly.
bringing that, and you're trying to get to the bus depot with this stuff so that you can take your flight. And so that's why you're sort of dragging this stuff along, and then it hits you in the defibrillator. All right. So then what happened? Yeah. Keep going. I'm glad you caught us up for James Apperson, and thanks.
Yeah.
And guys, go ahead and call in. Go ahead.
See, I went back to rescue the one sheep that was strayed away from the
Also, I want to point out something else to your attention, my one black friend.
Yes.
You had a technical problem, right? Your thing went a mess, and you had to log back in or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But in your mind, you pinned James Apperson's comment, right? And then even though you had to deal with the frustration of getting back in, once you did, you were like, "Hey, I want to rewind for James Apperson," right? Mm-hmm. You're better at following the chat than you think. Go ahead. You don't give yourself enough credit.
I was telling Pocket Locker I can't keep up with it. So, yes, Randy, I did miss my trip. But I'm here, man. I'm here. So what could be, only thing could be better if I just hadn't had my episode and I made the trip. At any rate, it was filled with education, and I'm sharing this. If you know someone with these issues, you can make them aware and kind of prepare them for maybe what they should be doing. So I'm down on the ground. I finally sit down, and I was thinking after it went off twice, like, I sure hope it doesn't go off again. And I slowed my breathing down, and boom, number 3, which was less intense than the first two. At least it felt less intense. And what was going on was, I learned this from the cardiologist who installed the thing. She goes, there's a setting that wasn't checked on your device. And that setting would enable your device to check your heart rather than retreating the problem. It would have seen that your rhythm corrected. Instantaneously, it corrected. So, or virtually, almost instantaneously. So after the first shock, there shouldn't have been additional shocks. But I was shocked up to 7 times because the latter ones after the fourth one were small. Were really small, just corrective. Like, okay, let's get you back.
And it had like maybe a threshold firing issue or something like that, which is where the extra shocks that this specialist is telling you maybe shouldn't have happened or something like that.
Yeah, the box should have been checked to allow the device to resurvey my heart, as opposed to
just keep going
the treatment again and again and again. And I'm wondering, like, did I wear the battery out? Because 7 times seems a lot. But I only remembered the first 3 and thought there could be a 4th.
And so did you pass out or?
No. I'm wide awake for this, and essentially I can only describe it as along for the ride. There is no me opening an app on my phone.
But did you fall? Are you laying on the ground?
I was on my way falling when I was missing the handle for the bags that were falling over, and then it hit me in my chest, and I went down on one knee just for that. But when the shock came, I went down on both knees, not in prayer.
Okay.
And by the way, we're going to circle back to that in a way. So I finally sat on my butt after the second shock. All this is one thing after another.
Okay, and then you just sit there. Now you're sitting.
I'm sitting there, and then the third shock comes, and I'm shouting for help. People can't see me. There's an echo. I see people, but I mean, they couldn't tell where I was because I'm between a parking garage and a parking lot. The sound of my luggage wheels were echoing. Like, it's probably the worst place, one of the worst places to be that still had people in it, So I sit down, or I'm seated. I take out my phone and I dial 911. Operator talks to me. He's trying to calm me down, did a very good job. I was calming myself down, but it just helped to have someone else there participating. And I'm settling myself down. He calls the fire department, which is very nearby. They come and they can't find me.
Really?
I explain where I am, and I says, okay, if you're facing the parking garage, I see the trucks. If they turn and face the parking garage, I'm not in the garage. I'm to the right of the garage.
Now, do you think you had to do this? Like, in other words, what I'm trying to paint the scene for people is if something else would have happened where you were incapacitated or couldn't use the phone or you dial 911, but somehow now you can't talk. Are you in one of them tragic situations where you're like seeing your help, right? But they're going to the wrong place. They can't find you. So in a sense, you're almost lucky that what happened to you, you can still talk and correct them, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yes, because everyone is not so lucky. Thanks, James.
Right, yeah.
Everyone is not so lucky. Again, I'm awake for the whole thing. I'm conscious. I know what's happening. I don't understand the complete reason. I needed the doctors to read the reports from the device to me to tell me what was going on. I had wondered if it malfunctioned because it went off right after the luggage handle hit it.
Cameron Bennett, thanks for posting this in the Ex-Christian Support Group on Facebook, man. I appreciate you doing that, Cameron. And guys, post to any of these groups you can find. Even if they don't come right away, or a lot of them don't come, or they don't come, we're happy to build this one show, one viewer at a time. So just keep doing it, and maybe later on down the road they'll start to trickle in. But they definitely won't if they don't know this is happening. So we appreciate you continuing to put us out there, man. This is crazy. So continue. Tell us what happens after that point.
Well, come all ye formerly faithful.
Right.
Yeah. So the fire department, one of the rescuers, if we will, he sees me. He goes, "Do you need help?" I'm like, "Yes, I need help." And so he comes down, he radios the other guys. 5 of them come over and they're surrounding me. They start hooking up the telemetry. Are you okay? What's your name? What's your birthday? Where are you from? Insurance card.
Wow. Yeah. Seriously.
Sort of
well, they got to know where to take you, right? They got to.
Well, I mean, it's clear from them, they were the most calm people. My neighbor is a firefighter and paramedic, and his whole demeanor is that way 100% of the time. But I talked to him about this, him and his wife, and he was telling me we have to be that way because it calms the other people down. And
they can't panic when you're panicked. Matter of fact,
no.
I just saw this. I just saw it. Didn't just happen, but there was a bombing in Atlanta or something last year, right? And it just got kind of swept away. It was around Christmas time. It got swept away because of January 6th. So somebody mentioned in chat, and I saw the video, and something very interesting happened. They interviewed some kind of man on the street couple, just some people who were in the neighborhood. And to your point, they kind of smiled a little bit and then talked about how tragic it was. And what I said to people watching, I said, this is a really interesting thing because they're not smiling because they're happy something got blown up, or even happy that they're on TV talking about something getting blown up. It's just a natural reaction, right? A friendly reporter lady comes over to you. She puts the camera on you. You got to remember what happened beforehand, right? It's not like we just show up, my one black friend, all right, tell us about the hurricane, right? What happens is I go, hey, we're looking for people to talk to us about what happened. Would you be willing to speak to us on camera, right? So I'm being friendly to you. I've probably smiled at you. Hi, I'm from Channel 9 or whatever. And so when we put that camera on you, ready to go, you might smile, but it's just a natural reaction.
It's natural.
You're not saying, "Oh, I'm thrilled to be on camera. I'm happy that people were blown up." It's just a natural reaction. But to your point, they then cut to sort of a man on the street interview with the firefighter who had responded to it, and his demeanor was totally different.
Well,
it was very straight. Yeah, and he spoke very matter-of-factly. You could tell he was trained.
He's being debriefed about the incident, so I'm sure it's very regimented, his presentation. And I think that's probably what you should expect. Don't expect that from me.
Right.
I'm a person who thinks almost every single thing is funny as long as nobody got hurt or mentally damaged forever. So anyway, while they have the telemetry up to me and I'm looking at my blood pressure, they're taking my blood pressure while I was standing, weirdly enough, checking my heart rate. I'm looking down. My heart rate's 100 beats per minute. This is 15 minutes later after the first shock, roughly. 100 beats per minute. My blood pressure is 138 over 100. That's never my blood pressure. My blood pressure doesn't see 132. I could take it while I'm on my Stairmaster. It won't be 132 over, 100. It won't be anywhere near that. My blood pressure stays under 120 for the most part, regardless of what I'm doing. 120 and then 72 maybe max for my diastolic, which is a lower number. So they asked me, one of them asks me, what is your religious preference? And I say,
wow,
hand on my side, still taking deep breaths, I'm an atheist. One of the firemen turns and walks away.
No.
And says, yes. He says, you're an atheist? And I go, yeah, but you can believe whatever you want. As I'm standing there, literally knocking on death's door. I'm just like, yeah, I still don't believe it.
and he can't get over it.
He can't get over it.
Like, because he thinks, at least in this moment, you're going to express a religious preference. When you knock it on death's door, you about to tell him you're a Buddhist or a Christian or looking forward to reincarnation or something.
Something now.
Something, yeah.
I believe that my two cardiologists are really good at their jobs. They're really good at what they do. If I'm going to believe in something, I believe that. I also believe I bought the insurance. Maybe I'll get my full refund for my ticket. If I'm lucky, the Airbnb people will refund me, which they did. They gave me a 100% refund. The insurance I bought for my airline ticket gave me a 100% refund. And just so you know, you can buy often medical insurance, which is a separate policy for your travel insurance. And this particular Allianz, they'll pay $50,000.
Okay.
Medical expenses.
Because while you're traveling, something happened.
I was in the Caribbean when I almost died a previous time.
Anyway, is that not normal with health insurance though? Is it not normal for I'm not covered when I travel? So break down for people that don't know, what's the difference between that and regular health insurance?
Sure. The travel insurance is supplemental to your regular health insurance.
Okay.
My health insurance covers me anywhere I go in the world, but they say, okay, you were in France, that's out of network. So
it's the out of network type thing.
So
okay.
I think it's like they pay 80% or 90%, and then I pay the rest. And usually a hospital will, if they get 80% of their money that they're overcharging for, they're thrilled. And they'll wipe out your debt or have you pay something nominal. So always be willing to negotiate with your hospitals and your physicians that care for you.
Very important. Anyway, also, don't talk to the police and negotiate all your employment contracts. These are these basic kind of facts of life that people forget.
Yeah. So after that, the firemen, look at the presence of mind here. Would you like to take these things with you? They said. So I have my computer bag, my carry-on luggage, and then the two giant bags of supplies, which were 130 pounds.
Which has caused this whole mess to begin with.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, because again, I'm putting a load on my heart that it just wasn't used to.
Yeah, and you're not sure, right? But it maybe, yeah.
And I'm stressed out. The doctors both said, because I saw both the cardiologists this week or last week, they both said, don't ever give yourself that level of physical exertion again. Don't ever.
Ever.
And,
okay.
The one doctor, she says, how much did your watch say your heart rate was? I said, I left the watch at home. She goes, see? Because I complained about getting an Apple Watch because of my heart condition.
Got you.
And so she's like, no, it's a good idea. You can keep track of your heartbeat and do your ECG and all that stuff. So she's right.
Yep.
She's right.
Yep.
And I was treated very well by the people at the hospital, and they're trying to get me to replay events. They want to know exactly what happened, and they call it interrogation. They read your device, basically. It does a transfer of data.
Right, yeah, it's got a lot of data logging. Yeah.
It's got a lot of data logging, so that's one of the things it does very well. And they said, well, they explained what ventricular tachycardia is. They say it looks like that, but they didn't have the level of expertise that one of my doctors has, where she reads these things day in and day out and can tell when there was a problem. She knows when something went wrong. And, I'm in the hospital for like 4 days.
Really?
They're doing all sorts of, they're doing every test. Well, look, these people want to see me leave the hospital, not just so I can pay the bill, but so I can go on living, kudos to my fiance who took the news really well that I wasn't coming.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys got to try to reschedule that or something. I'm sure that she was disappointed, but glad you're okay.
Yes. So maybe in November we'll go, or maybe Christmas time. She and I will see each other.
And hang on a second. I just want to say something to all of y'all, quote unquote, I'm calling y'all quote unquote couples right now, because a lot of y'all be tripping over, well, I haven't seen you in a couple of days, or you came home late from work. You know what I'm saying? Look at what my one black friend and his fiance got to go through. They got to deal with traveling to undisclosed locations in various parts of the world. We just gonna put it like that, and then y'all distant, so y'all don't get to see each other a lot, right? So you gotta maintain that bond, and then you have this type of trauma going through, and then y'all still have to just play it cool and keep going as y'all going, and schedule it down the road. So, even James Apperson talked about, not having this sort of contractual relationship that commits you to somebody, but earning it day in and day out. And this speaks to that y'all are still earning each other's love and trust and affection day in and day out, even though it's literally takes moving mountains to see each other, right? So some of y'all couples, I just want y'all to take that into consideration next time y'all having trouble deciding whether to get pizza or Mexican. Think about what some other couples is struggling to deal with. All right, go ahead. I just wanted to put that out there.
Go to Taco Bell and get a Mexican pizza.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You're talking about being at the hospital.
Yes. So I probably saw 3 doctors while I was there, 2 cardiac specialists, and just 1 doctor making the rounds. I guess 4 doctors. There was an emergency room doctor who spent all of 7 minutes in front of me. But the person that was in the room next to me, they brought someone in, and they had to save their life right there.
Wow.
They had curtains drawn, and they're doing surgery on that person, waiting for a surgical theater to open up so they can finish.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
So
wow.
It was one of those instances. I'm pretty aware how lucky I am. Pretty aware. And I'm watching the clock thinking, as I was in the parking lot, maybe I can still go just later today. And then when they start telling me how severe this was, your heart almost stopped. You better stay here for a few days. You're not clear to travel.
Wow. And they probably know too, if they let you go, you're probably gonna try to go. They got to
back on that plane, damn it.
Yeah, they probably know. Nah, he too high risk right now. We got to stop him from himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I am cleared to travel now, which, as you know, I travel many of the
for work. Yeah.
I travel for work, so I am cleared to travel now. I have appointments in December. To follow up with those 2 doctors. But this isn't the first time I almost died. I had a near-death experience another time when I was in the Caribbean, and didn't know that I wasn't doing so hot, But maybe another day we'll go into that. But I think the people who have near-death experiences, and if what happened to them happened to me, because essentially my brain wasn't getting enough oxygen, so it started to shut down. Turning off things like being able to discern the difference between my mouse and myself.
Right.
This didn't appear different than me. So there was a lot of that going on, and it was I'll summarize it. It was a really beautiful experience. It was amazing how that felt, and I've written thousands and thousands of pages of fiction, and I fail to do this truth any justice.
Sure.
And by the way, you ministers, don't you steal that for your sermons.
I fail to do this truth any justice. Oh,
yes,
boy. They done stole all our good lines.
Yes, for all my words, I fall silent, as I have written before. But when those people try to recreate that experience for them, I think I get it. I think I get why they do it. Although that's really a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
But that was as serious as this was, because I had 2 nurses tell me, you should be dead. And then 3 doctors tell me, you should. Well, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 doctors say, you should be dead. And then one doctor said, I've seen people worse than you.
Of course. Always that one doctor.
They're still here. I was like, well, good.
Oh man, that's
so
super scary.
I lose the genetic lottery in quite a few ways, but in some ways, I did all right. I made it good. I'm not entirely recessive genes, other than my brown eyes and curly hair. So that was my experience, and I was told don't do anything stressful. And I still had like 4 days worth of work to do. When I was on my trip, I still needed to work 4 days remotely, and I had to tell the people I work for, I was told not to do anything like this.
Yeah, that's great. And you got to talk. There's so much here. Sorry, but go ahead. I don't want to cut you off. I have a thought. I'll pin it and circle back to it.
Well, you go ahead.
Okay. All right. So
and it's not an acid trip, Lena.
Yeah, but Lena, I was actually going to shout you out and say we appreciate that. It does sound like it's a trip. We'll put it that way. It sounds like it was a trip. But talk to your moments. Did you really have a moment where you thought, okay, this might really be it. I might die. No. And then, you didn't think you might die.
In none of the cases where I've been, where I almost died, in none of the cases that I think this is it for me, nor did I want it to be. I'm the type of person who says things rather definitively. When I make up my mind is made up. And the decision not to die is one I made my mind up. I want to live to be a very old, healthy guy, have kids and grandkids. I'm 50. I don't have the kids yet. I don't have the wife yet. So I'm a late bloomer in a lot of respects.
There you go. Hey, we're good with that.
I still want that. To me, that's what's really sweet in life.
Sometimes late bloomers are big bloomers.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
So never in my mind was this is going to kill me. One day I'll tell the story of I thought past life regressions were BS, still do. And so I went to see a hypnotherapist about my weight to try to get that under control. And he mentioned that he did that. And I'm going, how much is it? He goes, it's $215. I'm like, done. Because even though I thought it was malarkey, I got $215 to waste on something that might make a good story. So
I got you.
Yeah, I went and did that too. And it was one of the most fascinating experiences. 50 is young enough to have kids if we can maintain adequate health and function, and if your partner is great. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she's great. She sounds like a keeper. So the reason I asked about this is because I think that a lot of believers genuinely imagine that in your last moments, your faith will come out. The truth of Jesus written on your heart. And I've wondered about this myself, and I love the way Christopher Hitchens went out, right? As he was passing, he said, I'm not having a deathbed conversion. If they tell you I had a deathbed conversion, they're lying to you. If I really say something that sounds like I'm having a deathbed conversion, please understand I've lost my mind and I'm fearful of dying or whatever, right? He made it very clear. And of course, they still tried to do those things anyway. But I wonder myself, if a heart attack struck right now and and I decide I'm really thinking, does part of me just cry out to G? You know what I mean? I'm just being honest with you. In pure desperation, does part of me just go, please, Jesus, save me? And so you're saying, not for you.
That's look, according to the biblical authors, you could be the most rotten person that ever lived. And all you need is that confession just before death. You confess your sins. If you've been, depends on where you read. You have to repent and be baptized. Sometimes you only have to have the faith. And if in that moment you have the faith, you're probably getting into heaven in that second resurrection. You're probably getting in there. So, and by the way, it's really hot. You got to read the whole Bible. And lots of things are on fire in heaven. You got to read the whole Bible. So for me, no. To have the religious experience, I guess, or to approach at that point to plead for the mercy of a God, it's completely unnecessary. to feel like, okay, I have to say the right thing so that I can go to heaven.
Yeah.
It's completely unnecessary because, again, I've read the whole thing.
Well, I think it's both ways, though, for people, though, right? So a lot of people are, I think I'm dying, my last minute Jesus saved me so that I go to heaven, right? But I think a lot of people are literally praying for a miracle in that moment.
I have
and
one.
what you're saying is you
I have one.
In your chest. Yeah,
That's
the defibrillator in your chest already,
yeah,
right?
I have an onboard miracle functioning 24/7.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at is in your desperation, and I think this is encouraging for atheists, right? This is like something encouraging to say, hey, look, we're good. And even if that moment comes to you, you may not cry out to make it to heaven on the last minute propitiation, and you also might not pray for Jesus to intervene in a miracle. You might just accept that either this is it or you're waiting for help to come. But I just take a lot of encouragement because I don't know. And you hear Christians talk about this a lot, right? Where they just say, well, I hope you're ready for your last moments because you'll be changing your mind then. So it's just funny.
I think that's what really blew that firefighter's mind as he's standing there like,
yes.
Almost, like, dude, most of the people.
Oh, why does he keep freezing? The freezing guys. Nah, it's really just internet stuff. Also, when he comes back in, I'll try to bring him back in this way. Oh, his signal's weak. Yeah, I can see the signal. My one black friend, just hit the refresh button. You shouldn't even have to leave. You could just refresh the tab, and it should bring you back in. Yeah, it's just a tab thing. No worries. But this is a great story. All right, guys, call in. Please call in. When my one black friend comes back, we'll finish up this story, and then it's an open panel, guys. So now's the time to come talk about any of the issues that you want. Otherwise, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start asking for his opinion and takes on some of the things that have been happening in our community, especially some of the things that we've been talking about with James Apperson. Yeah, I could see your signal got a little weak there, my one black friend, no worries. But you were saying, and I totally agree, this is kind of what I was calling out. You think this is what blew the firefighter's mind. And again, we're not saying he walked away to say, screw you, I'm not going to help you because you're an atheist. He had to take a step back because he was just so stunned by your answer, right? Yeah, or at least that's how you see it.
That's how I saw it, because he just seemed like he was processing it. Like, how can it be? I do have to excuse myself because my medication makes me.
Oh yeah, take your time. James Apperson is here, so we'll hold down the fort.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna hit mute, but I'll probably forget to unmute.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
Oops, and I just let in the wrong thing. Hang on a sec, guys, real quick. Y'all already know what time it is. I ain't gonna waste your time on this one. It's time to get up off your feet. Clap. Yell, scream, make some noise, throw your panties at the stage. It is time to get it done and mess these chumps up. We are about to take things to the next level with James Apperson.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here. Black friend go.
He said he just had to go take some meds real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be right back.
That guy, while he's gone, I'm just going to talk about him.
Sure. Of course. That's what the internet is for.
Did you ever watch Scrubs, the TV show?
A couple times. Yeah, I've seen it. I didn't watch hardcore, but I've seen it.
Every time I see my one black friend and hear him talk, I think, that's my Turk. I'm JD, that's my Turk. That guy is just such a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
It almost makes me cry to think about how wonderful a person he is.
Yeah. Seriously, talk about it, man. And I tell people too. It's funny, like, Oh, he said he's back. Okay, so let's let him in. But yeah, man, when we started thinking of this idea to do this show with people, man, we got together a few times, and it's like we were just kicking it and talking, and we were like, man, we got to really start the show and go live, because if not, we're going to just keep linking up and chatting on the internets for a couple of hours with each other. So we were just having a great time sort of getting to know each other and becoming friends, and then we were like, man, let's just start going. But like I tell people, man, so now things are different. You know, now I've been on Guts of Gibbon. I could call up to people and they'll work with me. And, you know, Derek could put in a good word for me. And my advisors are all behind me and stuff. But, man, when it started, it was really just my one black friend saying, man, Jay, I think you and I could do something. And then even like when we first started doing stuff, my mixer went down. That was just driving me nuts every show. And, you know, he sent me over the funds to get a new mixer and stuff. So just, we do appreciate you in this community, man. And we should do more to give each other our flowers while we're alive, as they say, right? Give me my flowers while I'm still here.
Before you become flower food, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
But James has been killing it too, my one black friend. He comes on a lot throughout the week, and he's been talking a lot about things going on in the community. He's getting his channel started. He's written a lot about what's going on in the community, especially with the theists we know. One thing I like is, like, you know, we have time to talk about religious people and the religious people in our lives, but sometimes we have really great examples in our own community. So when we talk about Otangelo or Rebecca, you know, it's great because we all have these people that we know that we can sort of have these conversations with. So, Apperson, I don't know if you have anything pressing on your mind today, but if not, well, if you do, then just go for it. But if not, I'd love to hear you maybe talk about some of the things you've been taking notes on this week that maybe you and I have gotten to talk about, but maybe not with my one black friend.
So, other than what I just said, like, what's been on my mind is trying to fix my YouTube. So I tried OBS, and I had some success with it. It uses less system resources, and Reddit seems to mention it more than the other programs, and so I'm going to be trying that one. But as far as, like, controversial things, I mean, I think about the same things in rotation, right?
Sure.
Less about politics, more about philosophy and religion. My interests in philosophy are probably a little bit different than most people's, and so I come at that from a different angle. But I don't even want to necessarily be a philosophy nerd, nor do I even really want to. Yeah, I don't even want to think about religion all that much. I really, when people get to know me, they think this guy wants to make a career out of challenging religion every day.
Yes,
and honestly, and I know I come across that way, and I'm not saying I would mind getting paid.
Right.
You're wrong.
Hey,
don't not send me all your money.
Turk's making plenty of money. Craig is making plenty of money, you know,
right.
Saying that the Bible is correct in this way or that way. So don't shy away from the cash if they're throwing it at you.
Right.
Right. And in fact, that's why I'm not as vocal about Joel Osteen and other people. I hate how they take money from poor people. I do hate that they scam poor people. But if they were limiting their gimmick to people that were financially already well off, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of divided about that because, you know, if rich idiots want to throw a whole bunch of money at me, I'm not going to say no. Praise Jesus. You know.
That's what gets you.
Yes, and I'm with you guys on 100%. Like, the exploitation of the poor bothers me. But what name of business or industry that doesn't? I hate to say it, the university's doing the same thing, right? My rich students, their parents pay for it, or their legacy, or, you know, or they're on an athletic scholarship or something. But my lesser well student, they're going to graduate 6 figures in debt, as if they didn't already have enough disadvantages. But yeah, every business does that, and I totally get your point. Keep going, James, please.
Yeah. So with all that in mind, what I think would surprise a lot of people is that the guy I want to retire as, the guy I want to become, I have this larger idea of him, but one of the things about him is he hardly ever thinks about religion or politics or any of that crap.
Who is this?
Hardly ever thinks. The guy I want to be.
Oh, okay, hang on a sec. Fenton Mully, please let me know what you mean by AA. Xtions.
Alcoholics Anonymous, maybe.
Oh, Xtions got to stop using the success of Anonymous to act like God is helping people. Oh yeah.
May I jump in to add some levity?
One second. All I just want to add is, guys, I don't like this Xtions thing, XTIANS, because I get confused to whether or not we're saying Christians but taking Christ out of it, or whether or not we're saying former Christians. Do you guys see how ambiguous that is?
Yeah.
So it's just my thing. When somebody says Xtions, like when I first read that, I actually was thinking, oh, you're talking about former Christians. And then I'm rereading, I'm like, former Christians got to stop using the success. And then I'm like, oh, no, you mean, right? So that's my 2 cents. Go ahead, my one black friend.
Okay. So I've wrestled with my weight issues pretty much since I was about 11 years old, where I sprouted man boobs.
Wow.
Frustrating. So see, if there is a God, he thinks I'm hilarious to poke fun of. But anyway, I was going to an Overeaters Anonymous or something like that was held in a church. The church was nice enough to donate the space, and Alcoholics Anonymous met after we did. Off in the corner was a rack full of chairs and a note that said, "Place broken chairs here." And I thought, you drunk bastards. Because we bigger people are breaking this.
Sure.
There's a better way to leave a note.
Right.
Rephrase this, please. I'm sensitive.
That's hysterical.
But
so I have a special chair that I got from the big and tall shop that holds like up to 500 pounds, and it's a fold-out chair. You can take it anywhere. So I'm like, wow, this thing's not going to break on me, because I have had like those plastic lawn chairs break underneath me, and
Yep. Yeah. Now I've had a couple things. So one time, at one point, I had gained significant amount of weight, and I was home for Easter, I think, and I was with my family was around, and I was sitting on one of my grandmother's old living room chairs, and I went right through that sucker in front of the whole family. It was awful.
I guess I can define faith. The best thing I can do to define faith is I was invited to a party. I sat down in a plastic lawn chair and it broke, and then someone brought me a second one right away. Faith.
That is faith. Yeah, right there. Yeah, I also I had a lawn chair collapse on me at a barbecue too, and it actually cut me. But yeah, that's really funny. And I worked at a church where we did the same thing. We did NA and we did AA. And now when I look back at that, it kind of disgusts me. One, because the church is only giving up that space for a very particular reason. Of course, it's also easy to give up your space when you don't pay taxes on the use of that space and you're not using it. And then, of course, those organizations are very creedal, right? We want to get you off the thing, help you lose weight, kick the junk. But, you've got to swear, some sort of devotion to something greater than yourself, which, again, to me is, I don't want to put them quite there because I think they do know a lot of therapeutic stuff and they try to use that stuff, but they're kind of mixing it in, whereas we don't really need that, right, on the scientific approach. So it kind of bothers me because from a mental health perspective, it's almost like, yeah, it's okay to see your doctor and take your meds, but let's also talk about how, sin plays a role in your stress, and right. And I had a lot of that in my family where and I say this is still going on in my family. I think I'm lucky. I'm the lucky one in my family who got the education and kind of is not buying into this stuff anymore. But I also got diagnosed as bipolar, so I, have a shrink and I take my meds, and I've been that way for years. The rest of my family is probably just as bipolar or, whatever else it is, because I didn't get those genes from nowhere. But they shroud it all up with religion, right? So nobody will tell them that they're delusional for believing in this, fairy god man that reads all their thoughts. So, again, I worked at that church, so please don't anybody think I'm trying to hate on them. I did it. I thought we were doing important work in the community, but now I have a different perspective, and I look back and I think, we could have done better, and maybe people going through these things deserve better. But that's my 2 cents on that, and I'll turn it back over to you guys.
Well, the Earth is bipolar as well.
Yeah. Well, that's
so you're normal.
Yeah. Hopefully,
to some degree. Take heart.
Appreciate that, James. Can you also talk about a little bit, because we've been having some on fire conversations about what's going on with theism, some of this sort of end time stuff, a lot of the anti-reality, anti-science stuff, and so I think we should talk about that a little bit.
So before I pick a topic, my one black friend, do you personally have any specific topics of interest within that domain?
I sure do. So one of the dangers of me having a bunch of free time is I'll do some review. So I dove back in.
Wait, my one black friend, can you give me one song? One minute?
One song?
1 minute, 1 minute.
Oh, okay, I was about to sing.
And also,
I got the pipes.
please remember what you're talking about, because I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
Okay.
All right.
Discover BetMGM.
What are you doing? Hang on one sec.
Okay.
Do you really want to love me forever?
Yes, y'all. We have a very special guest joining us in the pulpit. Our first official fitness pastor here at the First Church of the Cult of the Flying Man. That's why the J. Cole is on. It's time to work out. I hope everything works out, and if it doesn't, you need to understand how to do the Swiss Romanian Super Ninja resistance band deadlift. If you want to be to the next level, if you really want us to be impressed with your stuff, then you need to get a little more buff. If you really want to help us start this riot, you might have to improve your diet. And if you are not with it, you might be destroyed and led to shame by Cameron Bennett. Oh, Cameron Bennett, the former SDA, is in the house. How you doing today, Cameron?
I'm good. I'm only gonna be here for a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. All right, your time's over, Cameron. Cameron's too good looking, so Cameron has been removed from the broadcast. Cameron's been given all of his allotted time. We have to. When you show up and you looking that sexy, you only get about 10, 15 seconds because you start making everybody else on the panel look bad. So, thanks, Cameron. Good to talk to you. We'll see you later. All right. So, my one black friend, what were you saying? No.
Yeah.
hang on. Let me stop messing. But yeah,
Welcome,
Cameron, welcome. We're so glad to have you here. But yeah, go ahead, my one black friend.
Yeah.
Well, to answer James' question, I have been thinking on this. One of the most fascinating, the two most fascinating books of the Bible to me are Revelation and John. And during my time off, I started to look into them both again. No, I'm not going back to religion. I'm just checking on something that was bothering me. I think the end of the world, end times philosophy, I think we're getting it really wrong, and so are the Christians. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to process in my mind why that is, because I know it was written for its time and not our time.
Right.
In Enoch, he says, like, this is for a remote generation. That's very smart. So it's like, oh, it's not going to happen now, but beware. But the Gospels are like, this is happening now.
Right.
And I had always been bothered, James, by the way Revelation is told. Is Jesus the one revealing the revelation to John? Or is John having his own revelation and Jesus is seen in it? It also bothered me that people say the Gospel of John is written by the same author as the one who wrote Revelation. I will now say I think that's about as wrong can be. Mm-hmm. What makes more sense, because if you read the beginning of John, it talks about John the Baptist. It sure seems to me, in my review, that maybe John of Patmos is John the Baptist.
Wow.
Because notice when Jesus comes along and sees John, and John is baptizing people, right? He says, behold, the Lamb of God. Mm-hmm. If you start reading that initial imagery in the Gospels that talks about John the Baptist, and then every time you see it, just go back and reread the beginning, like the first 2 chapters of Revelation. Go back. I think I probably can change your mind to see it like I'm starting to see it, where this seems to be talking, this seems like it's John the Baptist having a conversation with Jesus. And Revelation is, I want to say it's plagiarized, but maybe that's the wrong term. It's as if, and I'm going to go ahead and say it's John the Baptist. It's as if John the Baptist sat down and listened to Jesus, and Jesus is spouting a bunch of things that already took place in the Bible. And essentially, because of this, maybe John gets the idea that Jesus is one of these 2 witnesses, and he's the other one. You will recall in Revelation, there are these people who are under the altar or the throne. I forget which one. And they're asking how long, God, is it going to be before we get revenge? And these are people who were beheaded for the gospel, right? Well, what happened to John the Baptist? He was beheaded.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's I need to get my points in order, James. I need to start writing down, okay, here's how these things are connected. Here's how this could flow. I guess put together a proper theory.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a video essay that I think people would love or something to write. I want to let James Apperson respond to that because that's where we were going. And then I want to make sure Cameron gets in to respond to this if you'd like. And then also, Cameron, if you want to say anything else, because I know you got to go, so I want to make sure you get your time. And then also, Cameron, before you go, we'll make sure we plug your fiance's podcast. But go ahead and respond to that, James, and then we'll get Cameron in here.
I think it would be great if you finished that project because then we can get Derek to put you on Mythvision talking about this theory because, I mean, why not? That's
why not?
Brilliant,
True.
actually.
True.
Yeah, and a lot of people on Mythvision, I'm assuming you're familiar with that.
I'm very familiar with it, yeah. I've probably seen 150 episodes of that, yeah.
Oh, okay, so you've probably seen even more than I have. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people I don't agree with and a lot of people I do, but there's something of value in every single stream, even if I don't end up agreeing with very much of it. And, it's just a matter of, can you build a comprehensive theory with the facts that are available? And if you can, and especially if it's a new take on the idea, like Derek would, I know he'd love to have you on there, and I'd love to see that too because I think you're onto something. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I also think you could probably line something up with the scholar too, right? To see if there's other people who you could bounce that off of that might even say, "Oh, go here or go here." Maybe there's some other stuff.
I would love that, like Francesca Stavrokopoulou, Dr. Price. Someone like that. I would love to discuss this with them and see how they come back. Because I think often I've noticed with myself over the years, the greatest strengths of the arguments I put forth are derived from the objections I get. How do I resolve the objections that are put to me? Because it makes me re-examine maybe ideas I've just thrown out, like, oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But the fact that, to me, Revelation read like John is present for, let me just read it, because John was present for Jesus giving a presentation. And it doesn't seem like it's another way to me.
All right, let me, can you pull it up, or do you want me to give Cameron a minute and then we'll come back to it?
Give Cameron a
minute. All right, yeah, go ahead, Cameron, while he looks that up. Hang on, I can't hear you, Cameron. There you go.
No, I was muted. I had muted myself. Can you hear me now?
I can.
I honestly just want to call in just to make sure the connection's okay. So when my fiance comes on, then I just know what.
Oh, so everything is. Yeah. So there's a little bit of a sync. So there's a little bit of a sync issue. So you sound good, you look good. The timing is not perfectly lined up, but not the biggest deal in the world. But a couple of questions on your end. What type of machine are you calling in from?
Ooh, I'm ghetto. I have a Chromebook.
Okay. Does your Chromebook? You're using Wi-Fi?
No, that's what I'm testing out. I actually have a connection, so I have like an Ethernet cable connected to like this converter, USB converter. So I have it plugged into my USB port to grab the internet connection. So I'm not using Wi-Fi. Okay,
so that's definitely usually a lot better. The other thing is I would say try it on Wi-Fi. Only because I always want people to go through the wired Ethernet connection. I use one too, but then I don't know about that going through the USB. It should be fine. It looks fine, but always the other thing to do, Cameron, is there's something called an internet speed test. And so what I would do is run it. If you just Google internet speed test, it'll pop up. What I would do is just run that speed test wired and run that speed test on Wi-Fi, and then go with whichever one gives you the best speed, particularly upload speed, because it's the upload time that you're concerned about when you're calling in. But you're right on it. And I tell people this all the time.
If you want, I could just unplug it and see what if I disappear. You wanted me to do that?
Oh, yeah, you can check that out in a sec. And then also I was just going to say, you could call in, or you and I could link up a time, and you could call in like, Monday or whatever, right? And we'll sit around and troubleshoot as long as it takes to get you going. So don't even worry. Like, I appreciate you calling in, but like, trust me, bro. If you want to, we'll just link up and we'll sit here until we get it right?
You're busy with all your streams,
Man, I ain't never too busy for Cameron Bennett, bro. But the other thing is, I also appreciate the opportunity to thank you face to face, just to say thank you for putting my cousin's music in your videos and stuff like that. It's a huge deal to him, is getting his music out there in all types of different people in different places. So I appreciate you, and I'm gonna link up with him to get those other tracks for you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just have him send it to me. Yeah, and I'll just forward it. But go ahead and plug your fiance stream. Tell people where to find it, and then go ahead and drop a link in the chat. And then, like I said, let them know what's going on Tuesday, and I'll follow up with that.
Oh, okay. Well, her podcast is different. It's not no Counter-Apologetics. She's not a Bible nerd at all. She clowns me for being a Bible nerd, so she's not a Bible nerd. Her podcast is it's not streamed. It's pre-recorded. She edits it. She posts it on this one platform where she allows it to go to Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music.
Right. Now that's, guys, just so you know, but
you can find it.
That's essentially what we're doing with Restream. When people give me a hard time, I'd rather use Whereby. I don't like Restream because I'd rather use StreamYard. I'm going, when StreamYard allows me to stream 8 places at once, I'll go back. But until then, that's why we use Restream, because it allows us to go through all of them different platforms. And who the heck wants to spend time re-uploading videos to 8 different places and all that? So she's doing the same thing on the podcasting side. She's using a service, allows her to make one podcast, send it to one place, and then that service puts it all over the place. That way, wherever you like to get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, it's easy for you to find her. All right, cool. So just wanted to clue people in on that, but go ahead.
Yes. And her podcasts are short. She's only about 15 to 20 minutes max. And she talks about pretty much her perspective on different, I guess, social issues. Like, I'll just give you, this is her season 3, I think. So this season, she's only dropped 3 official episodes so far. She drops them on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So far, she has colorism, homophobia, and mental health. And then I think the one that's dropping on this coming Tuesday is going to be toxic help. So she just likes to talk about her perspective on different stuff. And like I said, she's not a Bible nerd. She's not a Christian, but she's not a Bible nerd either. she's like most people who don't care, that she doesn't care about that type of stuff. She's spiritual though, but I won't speak for her. If she ever talks about it on her own, I'll let her speak about her own, beliefs. But so her podcast isn't about religion or anything like that. Sometimes stuff gets put in there a little bit, like she might say something about Christianity, but she's not. She's definitely not a Christian at all, not even close. And but her podcast is mostly about social issues and
then what's the name for some people who want to just grab it and look it up?
You're right. There you go. I'm terrible at this.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Get off here. And that's another thing. She's not shy like me. She's not shy. So you don't have to deal with her shyness like mine. It's called A Black Cat's Voice.
A Black Cat's Voice. You guys
can see it, but it's called A Black Cat's Voice. And cat's with a K, so it's a black with a K, like cat, because her name is Cat, Catherine. So it's a black cat with a K, Cat's Voice. The avatar is like of a cartoon black lady with it's actually one of her friends who drew it for her, and sort of like how what's his name?
Yeah. I'm trying to get that hookup. Yeah, exactly.
One of her friends made it for her. And so I'll try to put the link when I'm off of here. I'll put the link in the
drop all the links, man. As many as it takes. Drop all the links. But Black Cats. Yeah. And matter of fact, Cameron, link me to that in Discord. And I'll put it up. Nah, you good. Don't worry about it.
But yeah.
Also, guys.
This one, and I think I have some other. This is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's good. They can't see it that well, but it's all right, Cameron. That's not you. That's on Restream. It's just because of the camera. But guys,
pretty much what it is.
She drops a new episode, I believe, on Tuesdays around 8 p.m. Eastern.
Pacific Standard Time, yeah. So it'd be you would be like 11 p.m.
Oh, like 11 p.m. Okay, guys. So what we're gonna do
for you.
For me. Okay, so what we're going to do is this Tuesday, we're going to check out the new episode. We're going to listen to it, and then we're going to have her try to call in once she's done. That way you guys could ask some more questions, and we could kind of have like an after-party follow-up vibe like we do a lot in our community. The other thing I wanted to mention is I want to go more in this direction, y'all. I'm really, y'all know I have a background in politics and social issues. Always been way more important to me, even when I was a Christian, right? I was the type of Christian who it wasn't really necessarily about what you believed or your theology. I come from old school Pentecostal, so it was about how you walked in your faith. So if you were visiting the sick and, praying for people and then trying to help them out and, donating to the poor and all of that type of stuff, then we considered you right. Right? And ain't nobody had no time for arguing about no philosophy. So with that being said, I've always wanted to move more in the direction of politics, of social issues, and of current events, because one of the inherent advantages is it's easier to make content because current events stay current, meaning they're always changing. The news will be different next week than it was last week. Right? We can't say that about Counter-Apologetics. The Counter-Apologists will be on the same BS next year that they were last decade. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to be a lot easier for us to grow, keep things fresh. Also, we'll be bringing more eyes to our community, because even though there's a lot of atheists out there that will enjoy our content, they don't really know that, and they're not going to go out of their way to find anti-religious and philosophy content. But if they find some dope social content, some cool stuff about the news or whatever's going on, and then they recognize, oh, there's an atheist community I can get connected into, I think we're going to see a lot of growth that way. Cameron Bennett, man, you the guest, man. Let us know, man. We're trying to get people to call in. So anything else you want to talk about, vibe about? And before I let you go, you're going to have to say more about this SDA. We don't know about this SDA. Jamie Russell. We're trying to put Jamie Russell on our hit list. Yeah. But say more about the SDAs in the community and coming out of the SDA religion. What might be a little bit unique about this community for you? Because so many of us, that's not part of our experience, but you've connected with us nevertheless.
It's a very different community. It's like, how you have like cultural Jews, like people convert from Judaism, but then they still will say they're Jews. It's almost like that when you're a Seventh-day Adventist. It's like you leave the church, but because whole family is so entrenched in your environment, it kind of like, I don't know if you watched the interview I did with Rebecca, I kept on saying we a lot. Like, I'm still a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm not, but like my whole family is, and it's like still part of my mindset because you have to think differently because, like, for instance, since my whole family, a lot of my friends are still Seventh-day Adventists, I was joking about it last night in our stream last night about it's the Sabbath, but it was, or actually not last night, it was Friday night. So Friday night sunset to, Saturday night sunset, it's a Sabbath. So my mindset, I know I can't talk to them about secular stuff. I have to wait until the sun sets on Saturday night before I could talk to them about. So I know, even though I don't practice none of that stuff myself, I always have to keep it in mind because I know my family does. And the thing is, when you leave that faith, it's different from like leaving Mormonism or Jehovah's Witness, where I feel like you get excommunicated and banished and all types of, for Seventh-day Adventists, at least from my experience, and I know a lot of the people that I'm cool with that have left as well, they're very like loving. So I don't know if they try to love you back in, but sort of they try to love you back in. I think one of the big reasons why is because there's no fear of hell. Like Seventh-day Adventists, they're kind of like, they have the same thoughts of like as Rebecca from Better Life in terms of hell. Since Seventh-day Adventists, they don't believe in a literal, eternal conscious torment. You're not scared into becoming a Christian. You're either going to accept God or not. And so once you realize the whole thing is fake, we don't have that fear of hell still in our brains. Like once we leave the faith, that's it. Like we know it's fake, kind of like the Jews. Like once you leave it, it's over, because similar to Jews, they don't have that fear of burning for eternity that they have to still deal with. And I never experienced that myself. Once I realized Christianity was false, I didn't have any fear. So that's something that I dealt with. For her, actually, my fiance she's actually a preacher's daughter, so that's kind of interesting. But maybe you guys talk about that later. That probably won't be part of our podcast, but maybe you guys can get her on her program because she has a very different life that I've had. So, but yeah, that's my experience.
Cameron, super awesome, bro. Let me just say quickly, guys, we're trying to build up the hot program. We go live everywhere because we just want to put as many eyes on this show as possible. But if you happen to be on Pocket Locker 86, do me a huge favor. Please check out the hot program channel in the description, or even better yet, just click the pinned link in the live chat and that will take you to this stream on the hot program channel. Please do that. Subscribe to the hot program channel. Please, I know I'm live on Pocket Locker 86 around the clock, all week long. We don't have a ton of time over here on the hot program because right now we only do this once a week. But please come over to hot program. That's also where there's a pinned comment where you can call in. And of course, the link to call in is also in the description. Cameron Bennett, I want to thank you so much. But I want to give James Apperson and my one black friend an opportunity to ask their question because, like I said, we don't really get to talk to Seventh-day Adventists a lot. Never to mention that Cameron is a full-time mod. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he squeezes in any personal training or all of this exercise he supposedly does on these videos. It might be a stunt double or something because I'm telling you, when I wake up, Cameron Bennett is on top of it. When I go live, Cameron Bennett's like the first or second one here. When I'm going to sleep, I'm still getting messages from Cameron Bennett. So I don't know how he does it being a full-time mod with everything else. But look, I got to pee real quick, so I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to put on the speaker so I can hear the conversation. And my one black friend and James Apperson, please take a few minutes to enjoy a conversation with Cameron Bennett here.
I multitask.
Okay, well, Cameron, thanks for coming on. We certainly appreciate that. I had to step away for a moment. Do you sometimes co-host with your fiance?
No.
Okay.
I'm the shy one. She's not the shy one.
You're doing very well for a shy man. You're here.
Yeah.
And it's not your first time here, too. So we appreciate that. Well, let's see. Now, my doctors said I'm free to do any exercise except for the following: powerlifting, endurance training, like for a triathlon, and interval training. Where should I start? I got to lose 115 pounds. Where should I start?
I would start, if I were training you, I would have you, obviously, nutrition is going to be one of the biggest factors, about 80% of everything. But in terms of physical fitness, I would start with low interval training. So walking, and I would not just walk, but I would definitely include walking a certain amount a day, maybe at least 30 minutes a day, and I'd have you do like light work.
Light work?
Yes.
Like
light work.
in my yard or something?
No. I mean, I'd have you do exercises for sure. I'd have you do exercise, but nothing extra, nothing like too intense or nothing crazy. But I have you do simple things first, and then little by little build up until you're able. But yeah, I always start off. I'm actually getting a new client in like 2 weeks, and not to the same extent that you're at, but I have to worry and keep consideration about his, high blood pressure, diabetes, and so I always know, okay, I'm going to start at this level, and then we build up. But yeah, definitely, I would still have you do some physical fitness, but keep it low interval or low intensity. And obviously, nutrition is going to be at the highest of everything.
Well, let me answers in atheism and Casey and Randy. Thank you for your comments here. With your client with high blood pressure, have that client speak with their doctor, because there are medications that help with that. And for instance, I have one. Its job is to put a ceiling basically on what my heart rate can go to. It's a beta blocker.
Yeah.
So if he's on that, it's like an insurance policy too. It does what prayer cannot do.
Yeah.
But you can, with that, they told me like that's why they're giving me so much leeway. Like, no. We're giving you the space. Like you have the headroom to go ahead and be aggressive. Start easy, but you can eventually become quite aggressive in your workout, because losing the weight takes the load off my heart. There's less for it to support.
Exactly.
So it will, by that rationale, it will increase its own efficiency. It's actually, my heart, the average ejection fraction for a healthy person is 60. And then mine is more 25 to 30. So I'm doing 50% of the efficiency of the average person, maybe less.
Yeah.
So for me, every go ahead, James.
You qualify to be on disability for that ejection fraction.
I've been told by several people, like, this is a good time for you to retire. I'm like, it is the worst time for me to retire. One, my age, and two, I like owning things, and that takes money. Although it's funny, I've offered to sell my house with everything in it that belongs to me, as if those things had zero value. I'm pretty much just asking for the cost of the house. So before I went on my last road trip, I was giving a bunch of things away and selling them cheap. And I'm sitting in a chair. I don't know if you can tell what kind of chair I'm in. When I get up, you can see it. This is like a $900 chair, and I have 9 of them. And I was like, these things are hard to get, and people love them. I should just sell them all and just sell them cheap just to get rid of them. A friend of mine wants my dining table. It'll barely fit in her apartment. Just give it to her. I gave her all sorts of stuff for her. She wants to do a documentary, so I gave her a bunch of gear that she could use for that sort of thing. And I noticed I'm happy to see it go. I have a new client that reached out for some consulting services, and I'm going to help him and his family with something. And like, there's a bunch of things they need that I have, and I'm like, just give him a sweetheart deal so he can't say no. Where he just like, how can I say no? The price is better than anything out there. So like, although I do say I like owning things, I notice, because I'm used to being away from the things I own, that I kind of also don't have any attachment to them. They're not, I guess they aren't precious to me. Even though some of these things I've wanted since I was a little kid, I can now have them as an adult, and I kind of realized after I got them, that didn't matter. So
maybe it's not the things that you really value. It's maybe the empowerment that comes with being able to get what you need and want.
I think so. I think that's it to some degree. There's one of my favorite YouTubers is a man named Kevin Talbot, and he does RC cars. That's his thing on YouTube, and he pretty much makes his living playing with these cars, goofing off with his friends, and I'm thinking, man, back in Indiana, I got a group of people I would love to just goof off with and have crazy fun with all the time. If that could be a business, I'd retire tomorrow.
Casino Theater and Arcade channel, man. Check us out over there. We trying to have fun. But I wanted to say something about my one black friend, and you a transparent guy, which is good, and you're my co-host, so I could just talk about you in front of your face, and I ain't even got to worry about it. Mm-hmm. But you remind me of my mother in that sense, that you truly are a provider. And so what I think you like is, I'll go work for the money. And then there's these other people in my life who aren't as fortunate enough to have the same financial situation that you could put yourself in. And you recognize that. Either they're younger, they're still getting it together, they've had a rough time in life, they don't have the same set of skills, they ain't got their finances together, whatever it is. And man, I could just give them this stuff because I can go buy more stuff. I can sell this house and give somebody a great deal on it. And man, the housing market is tough right now. People are getting price gouged. So I'll give you a really reasonable deal, help make sure some friends end up in a good house. I'll move on. I'll move on and buy another house, right? And so it reminds me of my mother, right? She's the first person in our family to, work her way out of the hood and get a master's degree and get a 6-figure corporate job and stuff like that. So now, like I'm 36, I guess I just turned, and she is, I'm trying to move and stuff. Well, she's like, well, Jay, let me know what you got to do. Here, I'm gonna send you all my furniture. She's built a new house in Jersey to go help take care of her family, and she's like, well, look, if you're trying to move, we got all this furniture, just we buying all new furniture, so look, just take the old stuff, and if you don't want it, just sell it, put a couple extra dollars in your pocket, and I gotta go honor my mom.
That's definitely like me.
Yeah, I gotta go honor my mom and dad real quick and build this house in New Jersey, right? And so we all know in our family, nobody else in our family could do that for you. There's nobody else you could call in our family and be like, I really need $5,000, right? And have things happen. So I just want to speak to that because I think that is a big part of your motivation. And I'm sure that when you're helping people and building your relationships that way, that means a lot to you, and it means a ton to people like that. Yeah. Again, like when you helped me with the mixer, it was something that was really pissing me off every day, and you could tell. And at that time, I just couldn't deal with it. You were like, Jay, I know you just finished school, but in my mind, you're still a student. I can take care of this for you. Thanks for helping with the show, right? And that was just beautiful. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm happy to help. I grew up being very poor. Like you're probably not going to get it if you don't go out and hustle. So I've mentioned this before, probably since I was 6 or 7 years old, working. And so I've just become accustomed to it. So for me, James, taking a step back where I wouldn't have to work. I mean, I could sell my house and with the equity buy something very modest in the Midwest and probably be pretty comfortable with what I could retire on there. But I think I would lose a part of myself. The part that wants to live, wants to do things and go places and of course enjoy the fun of that. I can enjoy the company of strangers. Everybody doesn't have to be a friend. Like Answers in Atheism, who I wonder if that's Pine Creek.
No.
It's not.
He has a channel. It's a great channel. Shout out to Answers in Atheism. Okay. Also one of our best commenters, actually leaves comments on my videos. Okay. My live chats are crazy, right? But since so many people watch live, the comment section isn't quite what it will be. And so I really do pay attention to people that leave the comments because I know they're kind of planting the seeds. But yeah, my one black friend, please subscribe. Answers in Atheism. You can drop you have a wrench. You can drop a link. Please drop a link, and my one black friend will check you out. Also, my one black friend, man, let me know. I know you're super busy, so I normally just don't ask you to do more than this. But if you ever want to go live in the middle of the week and just do like an impromptu panel discussion like this or something, let us know. Especially a lot of times during the week, we might have 20 people in the chat at some point, and Derek might pop in, and so all this type of stuff does happen. But we love to see you also popping up on other channels, right? I get excited when I see James Aberson calling in another show, or Lena, or Cameron doing interviews on Bread of Life. So definitely you might catch a discussion on Answers in Atheism that makes you want to call in. Also, my one black friend, I wanted to remind people, sometimes I pop up places and I don't plug the show. So we've been talking about this a lot lately. And I just want to remind people, I've actually talked to my one black friend about this. I've told them I don't want to be seen as like a shameless self-promoter. So a lot of times when I don't, oversell the show when I'm on somebody's panel, it's because I just don't want to be that guy. And my one black friend, lately we've been talking about how certain people, like Doug, are sometimes not super into that. They don't really like to feel like their platform is being used by other people to promote their platform, which, by the way, guys, perfectly fine, perfectly healthy and normal attitude. If you're not, making it personal and saying, oh, I'll let this person do it, but not this person. And if you have some exceptions to that, because those are your friends and that's what you want to do, again, that's perfectly within your rights as a broadcaster. But then you have people like Derek, my one black friend. This week, Derek did a killer broadcast on basically how now evolution is helping us understand why there's like God, right? Why people believe, right? So I show up, a little late, send him a super chat, get a question or two in there, tell him I'm gonna go rewatch the stream. Derek came through our stream and spent more time between hanging out, calling in, and just talking to us for a long time, and then just sitting in the chat, chilling with us like the rest of the day. Because I'm chopping it up. We made a whole day out of it. It probably took us 8-9 hours, right, Cameron, to get through Derek's broadcast, right? So Derek does a 2.5 hour broadcast. We do like a 9-hour replay and recap of it because people are calling in and Derek calling all this stuff, right? My point is he spent more time on our channel that day than his own. That's a totally different mentality.
Well, you can. Well, it takes all types, right? You can give me a text and send me a link saying, "Hey, you might want to jump in on this."
Sure.
Because while I'm home, I was gone 4.5 months. There's a lot to do. My friend who was supposed to be taking care of the yard didn't. I came home to weeds that were as tall as me.
Wow.
And so I still got work to do, pulling all that stuff up, getting pine needles out of my backyard, and I'm going to do that later today. So, yeah, I stay pretty busy around here, but I usually listen to podcasts when I'm doing it. So there's no reason that there shouldn't be some program you're on that I'm, tuning into. And Answers in Atheism, I just subscribed. You have
Great. Also, please check out that link from Cameron. That's a way to check out the podcast. And it also has all the different places you can listen to it, which I'm telling you is everywhere. Like if you can't find this podcast on the podcasting platform, that's your fault. That means you want some weird platform. Get off that weird platform, man. It's not going to be a thing. That weird platform is not going to blow up. Man, James, spend a little time with Cameron. I know y'all in the chats a lot together, but maybe not face to face as often.
Yeah, I love seeing Cameron. I'm talking to Cameron. He's a very smart guy. Very nice guy too. So
thank you.
And
he makes me nervous. I've never talked to him before. This is pretty crazy.
Yeah, the whole world is looking for a chance to talk to me. That's why I gotta try to hide out. Keep it on the down low. Don't tell nobody you seen me in here, because groupies should be crashing the whole server, man. I don't need that.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, in all seriousness, though, right? I've been telling people, we've got to become the community that expects kind of, the celebrity podcasters in our community to come through, and you got to be cool about it, right? So that they're comfortable and they can just kind of hang out and feel like normal folk, too. But yeah, go ahead, James.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask real quick, my one black friend, where are you at? Are you in Indiana?
No, I'm from there. I live in California, but I travel for work. So I may call in from Bulgaria or something like that, or from somewhere else in the United States, you know, Tennessee or Mississippi or gosh, where have I been? Milwaukee, Georgia. I've been Louisiana. South Carolina. I might be going back to South Carolina later this year. It's just, you know, it just depends. I pretty much go where I'm needed. And when I came home, I was like, yeah, you kind of don't need to be here in this house.
Right.
You can live anywhere.
Yep.
And just when I get a contract, go work on that contract. But a buddy of mine who told me I should retire, he goes, I'll hire you to work out of your house in Indiana. So he says, you retire and I'll go ahead and I'll give you a pretty good living working there. So he's mentioned this multiple times. So I'm
so you got a landing spot. And my mother, go ahead.
Look, my family is well set up back in Indiana. They're well set up. So anything I need, I don't have to worry about. I could probably stay at my brother Henry's house for a year before buying something. And who knows?
Right. We've talked about this. Yeah.
So like anything I need, like my support system is there, and they're like, come on back.
So what you're describing is crazy, because it's like you're that support system for a lot of people.
I am.
But what you're describing is you're in sort of the rare situation where you in turn do actually have some of that support system in your own life. And isn't that extra special and nice a little bit? Because again, my mom, I don't know who she has that's really like that, right? She's that for everybody else, but who's that for her? I don't know. She probably got some friends. It certainly isn't anybody in the family. It certainly isn't anybody in the family.
Anything back there I need, I just have to make it known, and somebody's going to show up at my door.
Right.
And what city is that in?
Fort Wayne.
Okay.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
And guys, this is another thing. Don't be afraid of the word no. Because when you start being afraid of the word no, you stop asking for the things that might lead to a yes. I'll give you guys an opinion. When I signed up at the University of Minnesota, I signed a contract that said, we will buy you a computer. It's usually like let's say it's under $1,300. So let's say I sign a contract. It includes, we like to buy you $1,300 computer from the university computer store, right? That's what's in my contract. Well, when I started with my job, I started saying, nope. I do digital evolution research. I need a super powerful computer, and I need to get rid of this thing. And I said, I'd really like an M1 Ultra, right? Yeah. And so I asked my boss for one. I was like, look, I really need a more powerful computer. This is what I really like. This is why I really need all of it. And he ordered one for me. Nice. I had to go through some stuff. We had to talk to the head of my program and see if the program had funds for it and make sure they could approve it and justify it. But we just did it, right? And then I came back to him, and as you guys know, I'm like, man, I'm having trouble with my stream. I have my stream go off. I have devices that go out. I have problems with my USB. I need a streaming computer. Wait a second. You just asked this for a Super M1 Ultra, and now you want another new computer? Yeah, because as soon as my M1 Ultra starts doing all the stuff my streaming and recording computer's trying to do, it's no longer harnessing all of its power that we paid for. Oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I know it makes sense, right? So then he said, yeah, all right, now this is a little bit different. Now we got to try to go through the computer store, and now we are going to try to make it a university computer purchase and look at this type of machines. But my point is, if I'd have just sat here and said, man, ain't nobody going to buy me 2 new computers, and man, ain't nobody going to buy me this $5,000 computer or this $5,000 camera, you will never ask. And so being afraid of the word no stops you from doing the things where people might actually say yes, even if that yes comes with maybe not everything you want, or it might take a minute, or you got to wait 12 weeks for your Apple computer to arrive. But the point is, let's put ourselves out there, y'all. I used to say this as a dating coach. People ask me, what's your secret when I was doing the dating coach stuff, and I would tell them, I've been rejected more than any person you've ever met in life. That was literally the secret.
Yeah.
The secret is I've met so many people. Not even that, though, but no, it's like I've made a habit of meeting so many people that when you go and you do politics and stuff like that, and you go introduce yourself to 100 people in a weekend, most of it doesn't work out. But you do it so much that all of a sudden I could tell you these crazy stories. Like, oh, I've had this happen and this crazy story and that crazy story. And you could make a movie based on my life, right? But the part is people would be missing is those things only happen because I just rolled through all the no's. I just rolled through all the times the door got slammed in my face. I rolled through all the times my stream broke down, right? So that's what I'm getting at is like, it literally is the secret. You learn to just embrace the no. I'm probably going to get rejected a lot. All right, cool. Let's pony up and get it done. Go ahead, my friend.
Something I would say no to is an Asus STRX 49-inch monitor.
Bad experience? Had a bad experience?
Two of them. Oh, yeah. I bought two of them a couple of months ago. And one, when I lifted it off my desk and the screen cracked. Just picking it up like I would, with two arms, the screen cracked. It was sent back to Asus for repair. Wow. The repair cost was almost as much as the thing cost.
Wow.
They just weren't charging me sales tax.
Yeah.
And so it
hang on, I think he froze again. Just a little computer thing. My one black friend will probably rejoin us. Let me just. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're back. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I cannot recommend the 49-inch. It's too delicate.
Okay.
It's too delicate. So it's.
Couple things I want to hit on. Fenton Mully, thank you so much for coming through our stream. Also, guys, head over to the Hot Program channel. Click the, if you're on Pocket Locker, click the link and come over to the Hot Program channel and watch from there and subscribe. If you're on the Hot Program channel, click the pinned comment to call into the stream. But Fenton Mully, deep friend in this community. We're with you everywhere. So thank you so much for joining us. Answers in Atheism. I'm so glad to hear. Casey and Randy, thanks for telling me that Sal and Answers in Atheism are mortal enemies. I'm mortal enemies with Sal. So consider me and Answers in Atheism in the same stable. We were on the same team and on the same page beforehand, but now that we've identified a mutual target, it's about to be some Marvel versus Capcom 3 type of action where we're just assisting each other. So with that being said, Sal made a recent video about the zinc finger, which is basically supposed to be some anti-evolution nonsense. So Answers in Atheism said, I'm going to give Sal the middle zinc finger later this week. So please make sure that you check out that stream. We're probably going to check it out just to support him doing the hard work of deep diving into that bunk just to help us debunk it. But with that being said, I want to make a quick point before I turn it back over to the panel, which is stop falling for these scientific distractions, right? What the other side is doing is they're trying. Oh, see, Cameron, you got to go. I was going to say get back in here, but go ahead, Cameron. Say whatever you want to say before you go.
Oh no, that was it. I'm just gonna watch now.
All right, Cameron. Also, please drop the links again, and one more time, tell the people the name of your fiance's podcast, where they can find it, and then also before you go, tell the people what to find on your channel and where to find your channel.
So I'm gonna put in the chat. A Black Cat's Voice. That's my fiance's podcast. It's not a YouTube podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, iHeartRadio.
Right. Got to go listen to it, guys.
Everywhere. Pandora, I don't know, anywhere.
Yeah.
Just Google
Also,
Black
Cameron,
Lives
real
Matter.
quick before I forget, let's get her on YouTube. There's ways we can work out to where she can actually do that and just put up a picture or something. She doesn't have to go live on camera. But I used to do this with podcasts. You just put up a thumbnail or something, and at least people who want to listen that way can listen that way. But yeah, drop the links for that, guys. It's on social issues that are very pressing to us. Also, let's be for real. We need to support our content creators, our women of color who are out here doing things. It's one of the hardest demographics to just find good people making good stuff, right? So we already know it's Cameron Bennett's fiance. You already know that the perspective is going to be on point and be quality. So I'm very excited to show support over there. And then also, Cameron, go ahead and let the people know about that KB Fit 2.0 and what's going over there. What you got, like the Tchaikovsky triple back spin, Romanian lunge, with the stretchy, with the band. I don't even know. Tell the people what's going on with you, bro.
Yeah. Once again, my stuff has nothing to do with Counter-Apologetics either. I'm in the wrong group when it comes to people I hang out with. Obviously,
Great. Good for y'all for being normal human beings.
Yeah, so I just do fitness. If you type in KB Fit 2.0, one word, no spaces, you'll find me on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook. I just use it to promote my stuff. I do online coaching. I do in-person coaching, but I'm trying to solely do online coaching so I don't have to waste all my day going back and forth to the gym, training people. And I can help more people when I do online coaching. And I'm not stuck in one location. I'm able to go anywhere and do whatever, have a little bit more freedom and still help a lot of people. So if you need an online coach, it's more than just, the fitness aspect. It's everything. I'm literally like your best friend as a coach. Hit me up, and yeah, that's pretty much.
All right, couple of things here, folks, to pay attention to. Number one, like James, who's trying to branch out and get this community into more than just counter-apologetics and philosophy, but really focusing on health. Cameron is on the same vibe, except Cameron's going to give you more explicit instruction in your exercise game, right? And unbelievable form. I mean, we tell jokes, but this is really what he does, guys. Like, he's not playing, like, really, like, he's going to be able to teach you how to do things right. Also, he's very humble, but he has a strong following. Some of his videos his little shorts and stuff have thousands of views. People love his videos. So Cameron's actually, if we put him out here in this community, he would actually probably be considered one of our bigger content creators on the low. I'm going to just keep it real with you. On the low, Cameron's really out here doing his thing. The other thing is the videos are great, Cameron. Really great, very efficient. It shows you that Cameron is dealing in a different space. When you're dealing with the fitness game, y'all, it's a lot of different fitness instructors out here. It's a lot of competition, right, Cameron? And so Cameron knows in that space, people expect your videos to be tight, well-produced, really clear, well-spoken. And so Cameron's videos are incredibly good. Finally, Cameron, I'm going to drop something on you you may not have known. Before I got into this community, the real thing that got me started watching YouTube was actually like production stuff. A lot of music production, mixing, editing, and post-production. And so really my first thing that I blew up for me that I thought, oh, that'd be so cool to do on YouTube was one, being a drummer, right? Playing drums and let people follow, my journey in music. But then also eventually getting to the space where I was making tutorials. Like you see me with James and people. That's why I try to help people get started with videos and broadcasting, because eventually I really wanted to use the studio, right, to be able to make tutorials. That's part of why this studio is so crazy, because I'm trying to design it so that I could be working on a music production project or a video, and then I'm streaming it and recording it. That way I could chop that up later, put that up, and I'm doing everything at the same time, right? But at the same time, I'm going to be able to make a tutorial or whatever. So I say all that to say, I really wanted to get more into being like a coach or doing more like tutorial videos. And what a lot of people who did that realize is exactly what you're saying. You got to go full deep-throated into the online coaching, because that's how you take your video, and now you're not trying to get the audience. You're not trying to extract your wages and your money from your audience. You're using that video as a package to sell your personal services, right? You're really gonna be my personal fitness instructor, right? Mm-hmm. The video is just where you say, hey Jay, watch this to work on your technique for this exercise or that exercise, and that's how I found you. But now I'm gonna send you real money, and me and you gonna work one-on-one, right? So you can actually help me a ton by coaching me up in how to transition and start to grow in that area of my life where, I can, get back into those type of things, making tutorials, and then eventually get to coaching people, whether it's stream coaching or drum lessons or scientific tutoring or whatever it might be. So don't be surprised that more. I'm trying to be like, I'm trying to learn from you, Cameron. You need to be coaching me on how to get this done. So just excited for you, man.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we'll let you go. I know your fiance, don't want you hanging out with us Bible nerds for too long. But appreciate you in the chat and everything. And
yes,
we'll chat soon, man.
All right, y'all. Thank you.
All right, later on.
Thank you.
Cameron, don't forget to drop the links. Drop all the links.
Yes.
All right, James and my one black friend, I know y'all don't get to hang out too often. It's an open panel discussion, so James Apperson, I need you to reach deep down inside and talk about some of the things that are just really important to you and really weighing heavy on your mind. My one black friend, do the same. We got to get out of here at about, few minutes before 6. So we probably got another good, let's call it 35, 40 minutes. And I'm going to let y'all do it, and I'm going to just, chime in or whatever from time to time.
Okay.
Awesome. So, yeah, I hope I get another chance to talk with Cameron at some point.
Oh,
I really like
of course.
that guy. He's awesome. And I probably will hit him up for some help with fitness. I got to find out how much he charges, because, I definitely need some help with that shit. So,
also, shout out to people in the chat showing support for Crossover.
Yes, definitely.
Also, subscribe to Nerdy Rodent. He says tutorials is what I do. So go ahead, subscribe to Nerdy Rodent. The question of the day, y'all, is do you have a YouTube channel? So go ahead. If you can drop the link for it in the comment section, please do. You probably won't be able to in the live chat. But what you can do is, one, you can head to the Discord, and we have a self-promo channel in the community section of our Discord. We have a self-promo channel. Go ahead, drop the links to your stuff there, and then come back to this video and drop links or descriptions and stuff like that down in the description in the comment section, so that people who watch this later will be able to find your stuff. And if you guys don't already know, a lot of times we go live all day. We'll do 4 shows today. So, but by the time we get done and I go not live anymore, it might be 150 to 200 views on a video like this. So please do drop your stuff, because people will come and go and they will watch it later. All right, I'm gonna get back out the way. I was just being a host and a YouTube pervert. But go ahead, folks.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So, I went ahead and shared Cameron's girlfriend's webpage to my Facebook. I'm going to check it out.
Great.
Detail later. And I think that's really awesome. So, and it's interesting that she's not at all into discussing things like Bible stuff, and she's not a Christian, because I'm like, every single topic on that list of things that she's been making audio blogs about directly and strongly ties into the issues I have with Christianity. So, at the very least, even though it won't be about religion, I'm looking forward to diving into what she has to say, so that I can get insights on those general topics, and that I can apply it to the work that I do. So appreciate that. And I was the reason I asked about Indiana was because if you were here in Indiana, I was gonna offer to come help you pull those weeds. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Which city are you in Indiana? Or
so currently Lafayette, but I've been in. I was in Fort Wayne for a couple years, and Southern Indiana for a couple years, and Northern Indiana, like up by Muncie and about South Bend area for a couple years. I've been all over the place in here, and all over the Midwest, and I've been on the coasts, but not as much.
Okay. Well, you could just come over. I'd have nephews and nieces and their kids out there pulling the weeds. I wouldn't have to do it. It's like, hey,
good.
Here's $10 and 3 good meals to hang out.
Yeah, right.
With myself and my fiance. You know, I'm sure they'd love that. So when you could just relax and not have to put yourself to work, unless you can weld. Because I told her, considering the retirement thing, I said, if I could work on cars and make a living working on cars on camera, I'd do that. And of course, goofing off with my friends.
Sure.
So I've got 2 cars in progress of being 2 vehicles in process of being built right now. 57 Chevy truck, and I had so many other people working on that thing that I decided, you know, I really want to do something myself. So I bought a 69 Firebird that I just picked up. By the way, I wish I had their card with me. There's a place that gave me an amazing deal on some seats, on 2 sets of seats.
Nice.
But you know, I want to do that myself. And I realized when I started working on the truck, because I was actually doing things, and I said, you know, I can't tell you much about the mechanical side, but I bet you I could teach people the financial side and how they can prepare and weigh their options, you know, how to prepare financially for this undertaking. And is it actually beneficial for you to do your own car or write a check? And I did this with a brother of mine who's quite well heeled. He wanted the practical experience of building a car. So he started in a different tier than I did. He bought a $90,000 car to work on. I bought a $7,000 car to work on. So he's in a different league with what he's doing, but he wanted the personal fulfillment of doing it as opposed to just writing a check. And he totally could write the check and never miss the money.
Yeah, it's
and
like
I respect him for that. He's building it, you know.
It's like people. I like to offer people the experience of, if you co-host the show with me, just, you know, join the stream or click the link or whatever, and you can join the stream with me. And all the technical behind the scenes stuff, I'll take care of. You know, to the best I can, right? I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to grow in that, right? And so if somebody offered that same opportunity to me, though, I'd be really disappointed. Right? Because for me, that's part of the challenge I love as a broadcaster. Part of the great thing for me is that I grew up watching my dad in the studio, and he hosted the show, and he did the financial part, and he was sort of in control, and then he did the on-camera stuff. But I was always impressed by the people mixing and in the switch room, and that was the fun part of making TV to me, right? So, so to your point about your brother, I would miss that. The whole point of me doing this is having to figure out all the technical challenges and the mix and stuff. And he's the same way with the car. He's like, I can get somebody to do it for me, but the part of this I'm searching for is the satisfaction of doing it myself. Yeah. Yeah.
So with my device, I can't weld, and it was like a lifelong dream to learn to weld and be quite skilled at it. So when they told me that's one thing I couldn't do, I was kind of sad, and I thought, maybe I won't get that defibrillator if I can't weld. I don't weld every day, and I can still use a torch to weld, and my stuff won't be as good as someone who could use a MIG welder or a TIG welder. But you know what? If I moved to Indiana, I probably could knock on my neighbor's door, and they know how to do it. A lot of engineers and very skilled, talented people in the Fort Wayne area. I'm sure I would have no shortage of people I could call, and they'd come over and use my stuff to help me with my car. I can't be in the room when they do it. I have to be like 20 feet away.
Wait, why?
Because the electromagnetic signal from the MIG welder or TIG welder could set my device off.
Okay.
And that would make me uncomfortable.
The other thing I was going to say, yeah, seriously. The other thing my one black friend I was going to say is, man, and I've taken this, it's almost advice I think you gave me, or when we first started doing this, which was, let's just start doing stuff. One, you'll be surprised how many, people will come if you're out there once they see it.
So true.
The other thing was you would say, You don't know how willing a bigger content creator or someone might be to help you or to pick up your stuff. And you know, I was surprised that Gutsick given thought enough of what happened with me and some random dude on the internet to make a video about it, or that Derek finds my ridiculous stuff, you know, somehow worthwhile or whatever, right? And so I would have never anticipated these things happening this quickly. But I think the same thing would happen for you. Oh, and you also made the point of once people find us, there'll be now more stuff to watch, right? Like when we first started doing this, people would show up and they'd be like, welcome to the first episode of Hot Program. Hope you watch this because we ain't got nothing else on the channel. Right? And then, you know, a couple weeks later, there's some videos there. And now it feels like it's months, right? And so people could spend, you know, most of your work week watching old episodes of Hot Program, and then, you know, we start. But I think the same thing would happen with your car stuff, right? Like if you just, you know, oh, I'm sure the setup will get better over time, but for now I'm gonna just start with my, you know, my phone camera on a little handheld tripod thing and just move it around and talk to people about what I'm doing. I think over time, the same thing would happen, and you'd get a little spillover, right? You wouldn't be starting from zero because you'd have at least a few people from Hot Program who were willing to kind of go over there
James,
and start
learn
something.
to weld, James. Learn to weld in case I move back. If you don't know already.
I'll do it. I'll not only learn to weld, I will move back to Fort Wayne.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
Well, look, that we're trying to start the Atheist Inexperience. A lot of the Atheist Experience people, they moved to Austin. Right, like Jimmy Snow moved to Austin. That's where Matt. I think it's because that's where Matt Dillahunty is, or whatever. I get that impression, right? So now it's like they've kind of made Austin a hub of the atheist community, which it kind of was anyway, to be fair. But we could do our own thing, right? So we could all get together. But because to be honest, it put UT Austin on my list.
Yeah.
I was like, man, a job at UT Austin, which is interesting because that's also now where the long-term evolution experiment went. Like, people don't know this, but Rich Lenski he's near retirement, right? So this longest-running evolution experiment in history of science needs to be moved to somewhere else. And so it's moving to UT. It's already moved to UT Austin. It did that this summer. So they're now propagating it. So it would be kind of weird because it's like, that experiment is there, that you know, I came out of that lab, and then that community's there. So I'm like, yeah, you know, it wouldn't be bad to get a job at UT Austin. But yeah, I do think it'd be great for us all to have physical community someday.
Yeah, could be good. I think I don't know that Fort Wayne has a big atheist community. But maybe it's bigger than I think.
Yeah, we might need to just all go to Austin, you know, join them.
Well, I want to say my brother just bought a house in Texas.
Oh, he did? Okay.
But I in the Houston area. So, again, I'd have a soft place to land if I was headed that way towards Texas. I find it funny that not often, but every once in a blue moon, when I look at Zillow and I'm looking at houses in the Allen County, Indiana area, I'll also see churches that are up for sale. And I give serious thought to buying a church building that also allows you to live there as a home.
That would be wonderful.
Yes, and ironic. And I have a lot of fun with that. I've told this to my fiance, you know, and I've even sent her a couple of the listings. Like, well, we could do this, and it could be fun. And some of them are quite beautiful. It's just you got to build a room inside, like where the main people meet. I probably will get with my brother if I do move back and start a bar that is in a former church and name it church or something like that.
Oh yeah, love it. So and people have also done recording studios in churches, right? And so I used to work at a church, and we had a recording studio in the basement. So I'm all about that. I've always wanted, you know, and I think we could use a legit church, right?
Yeah, but
that'd be super fun.
And stained glass and stuff.
I'm with James. There was one it was so beautiful, and I was amazed at how much you'd get for your $750,000. Now that's way more money than I want to spend because I don't want a house payment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was thinking that could be worth owning.
Oh, I'd buy my grandfather's church if I could. If I could buy my grandfather's church, it's an actual Roman Catholic cathedral. Anybody can get there. From New York City in under 30 minutes or whatever, right? So it'd be a really dope spot.
Ask him if he could take over his ministry.
No, it's a cathedral. I don't even want to see the price tag on that thing. But there's always financing, you know. The one, especially because if you set it up as a studio, it would eventually pay for itself. Couple things in the chat. Answers in Atheism went to the ACA back cruise twice. He said he went with T-Jump when he was first starting out. Also wanted to mention Nerdy Rodent. He mentioned that you do AI stuff and Python stuff, and let me see some of this other stuff that he...
Nerdy Rodent would know what an autosopher is.
Text-to-image, generative adversarial networks, neural nets, which we work with in digital evolution and that sort of stuff. So, like I said, Nerdy Rodent, I am trying to sabotage the growth of my YouTube community. I'm doing well, I'm entertaining people are having fun, and I'm like, nah. Let's not do that anymore. So I'm trying to become a reality streamer where people are tuned in to my reality throughout the day, throughout the week. And so I'll be doing a lot of coding on stream. And since the community will probably immediately abandon me once I'm actually working in front of them and they realize that I'm actually coding, I will need every nerdy rodent out there to support me in my research efforts, because I think, building a small community of programmers around that type of content, like Jason Torn, who also happens to be an academic and does a lot of programming stuff, will, just help us build some community and have some fun. All right, I'm going to kick it back to the panel. I've got about another probably 20 minutes or so we're still good.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and actually, I got to pee again real quick, so let me get myself out of here. Yeah, thanks.
I hope everything comes out all right.
Same.
Thank you. James, to get back to an earlier part of our discussion here today, you had wondered about my sort of trying to equate John the Baptist with the book of Revelation. So can you turn to or go to the online Bible or whatever and read John chapter 1, not 1 John, just the Gospel of John. And not the whole thing, of course, but let's see. Go to 1 through 18.
So which version do you want me to read?
It's up to you. I don't know what's on my computer, what version it has. There's an app here. But it doesn't have to be King James or anything. It says ESV. That's what's on my computer. The app has the ESV.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me find this in the list. Hold on. I'll just come back to here to do it.
So just to recap for the balance of the audience, I'm sort of coming to a realization I need to put this together as a full-blown theory, but that the book of Revelation and the Gospel of John aren't necessarily written by the same person, as many scholars will say. But the John that's in Revelation that it's referring to at the very beginning of it in chapter 1 could be John the Baptist. And to me, this reads as if John the Baptist is listening to Jesus talk about things that are to come. And right. As I suss this out, I'll find chapter and verse where John the Baptist sends his disciples to ask Jesus, are you the one that we expected to come, or should we look for another? Because some of the things that are promised in Revelation are supposed to be happening during that time. but they're not. They're not occurring. As if it's sort of, hey, John, all these things are going to happen in our time, man. And John is like, yeah, Jesus, I totally see that coming, man. And like, Jesus, maybe you're the prophesied Son of God, you know? And you know what, John? Maybe you're right. And the conversation was something like that.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. So you go ahead and, if you would, 1 through 18.
Oh, sure. So, in the beginning was the Word. Am I in the right place? We're in the
Yep.
right. Okay.
Yes.
And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. The true light, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory, glory as the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness about him and cried out, "This was he of whom I said, 'He who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me.' For from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. For the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, the only God, who is at the Father's side. He has made him known."
Fantastic.
That was it.
Thank you. So I'm going to jump over to Revelation chapter 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave to him to show his servants the things that must soon take place. Now, if you remember Revelation at all, it's all this end of the world stuff. Satan's supposed to come back and be a jerk, and the word of God is supposed to come back on a white horse and start killing off non-believers. And Jerusalem is supposed to be attacked by the armies of the world. They're going to be in the valley of Megiddo and throw down. The person who wrote the book of Revelation could not imagine, I think, an army with the things we have today, the navies with the things we have today. Right. I don't think that was even on his radar. So clearly this is written for their time, not for our time. I'll continue. He made it known by sending, I'll start over. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants the things that must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel. Now, another word for angel is messenger or also star. So when you read that in Revelation, in the New Testament and Old, just know if you see angel, could it mean messenger? If you see star, could it mean angel? Could it mean messenger? It's more likely to mean, star is more likely to mean angel in that instance. Okay, and to his servant John, who bore witness to the word of God, word should be capitalized, it isn't in the ESV, and to the testimony of Jesus Christ. So hear that? To the testimony of Jesus Christ, even to all that he saw. Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear and keep what is written in it, for the time is near. Now, again, this is 2,000 years after the fact, basically. We're basically 2,000 years from when this was written. So the time is not near. It was not near. But they thought it was. John, to the 7 churches in Asia, grace to you and peace from him who is and was and is to come, and from the 7 spirits who are before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, the faithful witness, the firstborn of the dead, and the ruler of kings on earth. Now, in no way during Jesus' lifetime did he rule over the earth. You can say that in an exchange between Pilate and Jesus, Pilate essentially signs off on Jesus being king of the Judeans. Fine. Because it doesn't matter. He enjoyed, we know this from history, he actually enjoyed pissing off, the Jews that were there. It was like he was easily disrespectful of them. So Jesus never ruled over the kings of the earth. Right. There was somebody who was considered this way. Freaking Cyrus was looked at as the king of kings and lord of lords. Okay. So, by the way, that I'll tie that in when I do this on the full scale. I'll tie that in with the book of Daniel. So you'll see why I said that and why that matters. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins by his blood and made us a kingdom, priests to his God and Father, to him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all the tribes on earth will wail on account of him. Even so, amen. So when we listen to Christians talk about how Jesus is the Old Testament is the New Testament concealed, the New Testament is the Old Testament revealed, that sort of thing. Yeah. This is an old game. This is an old game that they were even playing back then, trying to say that this or that person is this person who has come into the world to free Jerusalem from captivity, to free the Jews and Hebrews from captivity, from tyranny, from other nations. Right. So,
they've been jonesing for that ever since Babylon, man. Ever since then.
That's key. That's key. And the book of Daniel, like I said, when I write all this up, I'll show you things where even it's talked about who, if you don't believe in the Christian God, you're to be roasted in the fire.
Yeah.
So the idea of hell didn't come from the New Testament. It's in Daniel, but they're going to drag a human being out of their house basically and throw them into the fire. It's not a place you go to. It's a place you're brought to, and you're fully conscious while it's happening to you. And they're going to throw you in the fire because it's that much of an offense if you didn't believe in Daniel's God, because Daniel can predict all these things, remarkably similar to Joseph, as a matter of fact. It's a little too close to Joseph. So let's see. Okay. So verse 7 in chapter 1 of Revelation, behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will wail. I want to focus on this expression, coming with the clouds. I don't know what this is in Greek, but I have a feeling that it's derived from the Aramaic, to come in the clouds. This means, this expression, when they say Jesus will come in the clouds, it means to succeed in a mission. It doesn't mean that he's like Yahweh, the cloud rider, necessarily. It's more likely that it means that he will succeed in a mission. And his mission is to what? He's going to seek and save the lost, not just Israel, but certainly Israel. He's also going to get rid of these other militaries. And of course, what else are they going to do? Conquer Babylon. Mm-hmm. Although, I think so now Cyrus too. Go ahead.
Yeah, so later it became a metaphorical Babylon. It's just a way of describing their enemies, whoever is oppressing them at the time.
Well, that's Egypt. Egypt is thought of that way. I'm going to disagree with you. It's not that you don't have a point. I just don't agree with it. I think they would frequently use Egypt to represent captivity, although I don't see the proof that they were ever in the land of Egypt as captives. Right. For sure, they were.
Derek has a special coming up on that. He announced it. He's got I think 5 different experts in the field. Or wait, no, maybe it wasn't Derek. Maybe it was Dr. Josh. Yes, it was Dr. Josh Bowen. Okay. 5 different experts in the field about the Exodus story. And they're all going to explain to us how we know the Exodus didn't actually happen. Okay. So watch for that. But go ahead.
I'll keep my eyes peeled. So again, when you get into Daniel, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, it's like they're writing essentially to back one another up with what they think. Also is very important is the book of Zechariah, because Zechariah is telling you who these people are supposed to be, who are supposed to be doing some of these changes. So it's very interesting that sort of is swept under the rug when Jesus comes along. It's like, well, they didn't do it, so I guess we should do it.
Yeah.
They're not the ones, so maybe we are the ones. Let's see. Okay, and Jesus is, I am the Alpha and Omega, says the Lord our God, who is and was and is to come, the Almighty. So can you go back to, let's see, I think you just read it. This is why I need to write out the whole thing. Well, Jesus, when you read in John 14, the Word became flesh, and flesh dwelt among us, and we've seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness, and he cried out, "This was whom I said, he who comes after me ranks before me, because he was before me." So this is, Jesus is the first of the dead, right? We get that in Revelations. He's the first, how does it phrase it?
The first to
the
die and be
resurrection?
risen. Yeah.
Yeah, which we clearly know, well, if you read the whole Bible, he's not the first person that we see brought back from the dead.
Right.
But actually, even in his own stories, he's not the first.
Right.
So
I've heard a couple different theories about that, but go ahead.
Please share.
Like one of them was the idea that perhaps he died to his former self when he took his human form, and so he died as a spirit being and rose back up as a physical being. Is one of the theories that I heard.
That makes sense, because one of the Gospels borrows from Samuel, the book of Samuel, and where it's talked about how I will make you a new person and give you a new heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that, because they're borrowing. They recycle these things from other books.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Okay. Let's see. John, your partner in tribulation. So you'll hear Christians talk about the tribulation here in Revelation 1:9. John, your brother and partner in the tribulation and the kingdom. Remember, Jesus is supposed to bring his kingdom. And the patient endurance that are in Jesus was on the island called Patmos on account of the word of God. And here's why I say, to me, this is as if Jesus and John are together, and John is essentially taking dictation to what Jesus is saying about what's going to happen. I need a bookmark. I, John, your brother and partner in the tribulation and the kingdom, and the patient endurance that are in Jesus, was on the island of Patmos on the account of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet saying, "Write what you see in a book and send it to the 7 churches," and then it lists the churches. So let's say John the Baptist, who was what? Jesus' cousin, allegedly. We keep reading the Gospels, we see that. They're related. John the Baptist, his father, had work to do in the temple. He lost his voice, John's father did, and couldn't speak. But when John the Baptist was born, he could speak. And people went out and they published it abroad, as the King James said, which is kind of beautiful. They published it abroad. Now, when Jesus comes along, what are they told? We saw his star in the east. Remember, star can mean, some translations might say we saw his angel, but it can also mean messenger. So if people are talking about this, that John is heralded as, because his father, it talks about this, John is heralded as the one who's supposed to what? Make a way, make the crooked path straight, make a way for the Messiah to come along. If that is the case, and this starts early, there's no miracles here. They just heard a guy talking, some street preacher like Ray Comfort. They heard a pre-Christian Ray Comfort telling people about how God is supposed to come back and fix the world, fix the things for the Jews. It's going to be great. So a lot of there's all these little details that matter more than I used to think they did, because they don't mean what we're taught they mean. they actually have a meaning that is smaller, and it leads to the big picture. If you like art, maybe think of pointillism. If you don't know what pointillism, look it up. Pointillism is taking little dots of different sizes to make up a large picture. And at a certain distance, you can't see the dots anymore. They blend together. So that is one way I think we could look at all these little details we get throughout the Bible to form a big picture. And to me, I'm thinking, gosh, it's so scammy when you know what it says. It's so scammy. It doesn't read like truth to me. It reads like some pretty decent fiction, I have to say. But Revelation is probably the worst book if you think the Bible is true. It's one of the worst books you can look at because it pretty much says it's not true. Because if you go back to Daniel, you'll see it's borrowing. Ezekiel, it's borrowing. And all these other books where it's borrowing. Things that the Jesus in this story in Revelation says are going to happen actually occur in the book of Revelation. But if you read about it, you're like, wait a second. And some Bibles will give you a footnote where this story appears elsewhere in the Bible.
Yeah.
Well, if the publishers know that, they're just trying to sell you a book, man. I don't know how much they're trying to get you to believe. They just know you got a little money you might want to let go of to buy someone a Bible that they won't read or that you won't read. So.
Right.
But yeah, I'll sort this out and give chapter and verse. And my computer has some sort of, I don't know. This is new, so it's got Microsoft something or other that probably does PowerPoints. So maybe I'll create that or talk to somebody else in the community who can help me with that, and that way I can better illustrate. Because again, this is an interesting argument, but it's not solid to someone, say, who's a devout Christian or has a casual interest in the Bible. It's not solid because I'm not giving you chapter and verse on everything, but I know I can. I know I can. So when it reaches that level, I think it's something that should be published throughout Jerusalem and other places, and it should be published much, shall we say.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah. Well,
thank you. I'll be looking forward to sharing it. But to me, it's pretty evident. I know if you've listened to Hot Program repeatedly, I say things that just like, well, nobody else says that. Like when I tell you, if you read the Gospel of John all the way through, Judas is alive at the end of the story. And people are like, nah, I'm like, read it.
Yeah.
Read it. What does it say? Lord, what about him that betrayed you? Well, that's Judas.
Uh-huh.
He's standing right there with the rest of them. So either there's an error, somebody mixed up where a page goes, but to me, it's more likely that Judas is really Lazarus.
Yeah.
It's the same guy.
Bart Ehrman joins a growing number of scholars who says that the whole story about the betrayal from Judas was added later. It was not in the original versions of the story. And so that's why it got so mixed up, and why why the different writers came to agree on what happened. Like, did Judas die from hanging himself? Did he die from when he's walking through a field, then tripped and his gut spilled out? Was he still alive after it was all said and done? They can't agree because it was all just rumors that kind of made it back into the stories, and they heard different versions of the rumors, so they got different versions of the story. It wasn't in the originals. James,
I am a super heretic on this one. To me, this reads like people's homework. Like from I took creative writing classes. I was in creative writing club. To me, it just seems like it's an assignment that a bunch of people had to do. And I mentioned this before. We used to do things like we would use each other's names in our stories because it made it, the small group of us reading these things and writing these things, it made it fun for us. And I seem to remember one of my teachers had an assignment where we took a story that he wrote when he was a kid, and we had to rewrite his story. And we could use as much of it as we want, but we had to expand on what he wrote. Now, a classroom full of kids did this. What do the Gospels read like? Pretty much that.
Yeah.
And the lazy ones took big 80%, 90%, and stuck it in their gospel. all right,
Yeah.
I'll write a gospel, but I'm pretty much going to pad this sucker out by using what the Mark writer did.
Right.
You know, whereas John is as if someone is fairly creative and says, you know what, I'm only going to take a little bit of that. I'm going to go on my own. So for me, when I hear a scholar talk about Q, I always think back to that assignment. And if you have a general document that's shared and everyone can access it, but they're supposed to riff on it, that's how you get to a Q. And if individuals are making up the rest themselves, that's why we see differences and everything isn't the same. The Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5-7, chapters 5-7. That's an outline for what takes place in the book of Matthew.
Yeah.
I'm reading it and I'm going, why does this seem so familiar? Why do I think I'm going in a circle when I read this? And right there it is. There's all these little granular details. Again, think of pointillism, where there's the Jesus is saying in the Sermon on the Mount, do not give what is holy unto dogs. Right?
Yeah.
And he meets the old lady later in the story who said, even dogs eat the crumbs from their master's table. Oh, woman, he's all so impressed. But he said that in the Sermon on the Mount. Now it's happening later in the story. Do not cast your pearls before swine, or else they will turn and rend you. Well, when he's casting the demons, legion out of the demoniac, and they go into the pigs, and the pigs run down to the sea and drown themselves, the townspeople come, and they throw Jesus out. Well, he's speaking to his disciples. They is not the pigs. They is the people.
Yeah.
So there's all these little, and I actually wrote on that. I did everything but chapter 7. I did 5 and 6, but not 7, because I got busy doing other things. But that's why it's not a good thing for me to have free time. So if you're a Christian, hearing this and you want to try to make me lose my job, don't.
All right, guys. I got to wrap this up so I can get to church on time. I'm just going to do what I normally do. Before we wrap, I want to just say to Rebecca, what we do is, we use Restream. It allows us to go live on up to 8 channels at once. I've recently basically requested, got Derek on board with the idea of letting me host sort of panel discussions and open panels with other content creators. That way, as opposed to it being like, well, are we going to go live on my channel or your first channel or my second channel, or I'll go live and then you repost it. Rather, it's like everybody can pick a channel or all their channels. We go live on everybody at once. We use opportunities at the beginning of the stream, the end of the stream, and periodically throughout to promote everybody, say, hey, go sub to all these people, go subscribe to all these people, and then everybody's free to do with it as they want. So appreciate that. And also Bread of Life, check us out at Pocket Locker 86. That's my main channel where I'm live normally around the clock. We talk about you all the time. We spend a lot of time making fun of you. You're kind of our favorite punching bag over on the Pocket Locker 86 community. But I always tell people we do it because we consider Rebecca a friend. So number one, we care about her enough to pay attention to things that even if we don't like or agree. And then the other thing is she's grown, right? And she's a great broadcaster. She's fun. You guys see her. She'll make videos about stuff. She'll take her shots at people. She'll tell all you flag waving phony atheist that your whole worldview is ridiculous and absurd, and that's why you that's why you believe in your silly religion of scientism, right? And
rewind this one, Rebecca.
Yeah, rewind this one, right? And I always say, but I can pop on the Bread of Life and she'll have me on the stream within 30 seconds. So Rebecca and I are always cool. My one black friend, you can testify to this. How cool was Rebecca when we had her on?
She's wonderful.
Took everything like a champ, right? A true pro when it comes to broadcasting. So Bread of Life, don't take any of the stuff when we make fun of you personally, Rebecca, we really do love you. And honestly, I'm just trying to put butts in seats and get more eyes on our streams and get people excited about our conversation. So we know you take your shots. We try to fire back, and we're just so happy to have you in the community. And like I said, go ahead, follow us on Pocket Locker 86 and do stay in touch. We'll be live there all day. And then also, we've got the Casino Theater and Arcade channel. So that's where we have fun and we kick all the Bible nerds out, we kick all the philosophy nerds out, and we just have fun doing anything else. You guys are all welcome to come there and just kick it with us. On that note, at 6 o'clock, I got to go to SDMC Church. And then at 8 p.m., we will be doing the Atheist Crew Book Club, ACBC, and we'll be talking about Christopher Hitchens' God is Not Great. And then we'll follow that up with an after party and another late night and overnight stream at the Casino Theater and Arcade. So do check the links in the description, subscribe to all the channels, and of course, those of you that are watching on Hot Program channel, thank you so much. We are trying to get more subs and viewers on Hot Program. When Hot Program and Pocket Locker 86 get big enough, we're not going to go live on both of them at the same time anymore. This is just to help people put the most eyes on it. So please do sub on Hot Program, and if you can, watch Hot Program on Hot Program, because that will eventually be the only place to see it. But it is time. I want to be live all day. It's time to switch back over to Pocket Locker 86. If you're on Pocket Locker 86 already, sit tight. We just got to switch some device stuff and turn off the Hot Program machine, and then we'll be live on Pocket Locker 86 for the remainder of the evening until we switch over to the casino. So head over to Pocket Locker 86 if you're on Hot Program. Otherwise,
stay alive.
Yeah, stay alive, stay alive. And before we go, I'll probably end up a couple minutes late, but I'm going to let my one black friend and James Apperson take a minute to sign off. Go ahead, James, and then I'll turn it over to my one black friend.
Oh, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to when he finishes that project. I think he's got some insights there that I hadn't considered before, and I really, really want to see the rest of it. In the meantime, I'm just glad I had a chance to connect with him again. I'm so glad he's still alive and among us. It's like, I just... Yeah, definitely. That's scary.
Yeah. Hey, thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. If you're an atheist, we want your thoughts. If you're a theist, we want your prayers. Any way you slice it, it's attention and energy to a good person who, and we appreciate that. So go ahead, my one black friend. We are so glad you're still with us. Go ahead and sign off to the people.
Okay. I just want to say, if you can help someone, please do. And if someone is calling for help, if you can answer the call, please do. Sometimes it's going to be you that is in need of the help. So it's a good thing when other people are there. I'm thankful to the doctors, the nurses in Northridge Hospital who treated me wonderful, and then my own doctors who didn't beat me up over this incident, but were more fascinated and concerned about seeing me on my way to have a nice, long, healthy life. And they were not at all freaked out, except for my doctor who did the surgery. She's like, "Why did this happen? You should have only been shocked one time." So anyway, I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that the podcast is here. My fiance for being so understanding. My family and my staff, my last project, who were reaching out to me, making sure I'm okay on a consistent basis. My friend Andy, who said he'd give me a job.
Great.
And if I decided to retire, I could have an easy time because he'd be helping me. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to have fun no matter what's going to happen.
Yeah.
My fiance is gold. If you can fall in love with the right person, it'll be one of the best things you ever do. And I hope you wake up feeling that way every time, every day, because I do. So that's pretty much all I have to say. If you've been a Christian and you think that I'm full of beans with some of my ideas, I do encourage you to actually read the Bible, like read the whole thing, not just parts, read the whole thing. And it's way more interesting than you may have previously understood it to be, and also unsettling. And get back to us and let me know if you think that killing and burning a goat is really going to fix anything other than what you should have for a meal. Is that really what the God who created the universe needs? Can somebody throw some open pit sauce on those goat ribs so I can smell the sweet savor of that? Is it really?
Yeah.
Did we get there? Another thing, I did comment to someone on YouTube how the God of the Bible seems to solve every problem by killing people.
Right.
That's his
his
MO.
go-to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his go-to. No, I can fix it. You can? Are we going to pay for something? No. We're going to hire experts? No. What are you going to do, God? Just kill people. It fixes it.
Right. And it always goes off the rails before that. The problem always starts with his deadbeat parenting style. Totally hands off and absent. You know.
Not a helicopter dad at all. Just,
seriously.
You could do with a bit of that. But anyway, notice I don't want to beat up on Christians.
Sure. We feel this way about every religion.
Right.
The gods. All right. It's always an unfair fight, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's basically it. You really gotta get the most out of your life. It's a hot day. It's 95 degrees. I'm gonna go jump in the pool, which I haven't been in all year because I've barely been home. So I'm gonna relax. And the doctor told me you can swim in your pool. Don't be so scared of yourself now.
Right.
And by the way, if you have medical issues, that might not be a bad thing to tell your doctor, because I said that to the cardiologist who did my surgery. I said, I'm scared of myself now. And she said, don't be.
Yeah.
Stay in your parameters. You'll be fine.
Kind of like I'm afraid of other people right now. Bread of Life, we've made a bunch of videos about you, and Nano has made some fantastic Atheist Fever Dream edits that feature you. We play those almost every day. So, yeah, if you start combing through them Pocket Locker 86 streams, you're going to see a lot of Bread of Life. Matter of fact, sometimes I think we probably just watch your whole stream while you're streaming and stuff. You're gonna see a lot of yourself. We're like Bread of Life anti-fan fiction or something. I don't know. All right, look. I'm turning off the hot program machine. I'm late to church. Y'all gonna get me in all types of trouble with my motorcycle club. But we're live on Pocket Locker 86. Please join us on Pocket Locker 86 on YouTube. Otherwise, to the hot program crowd, thank you so much. In the name of the Darwin, the Dawkins, and the Christopher Hitchens. Thanks to James Apperson, and so glad my one black friend is back with us.